And Commissioners, the meeting is live.
I call this June 13th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission to order. Please, everybody, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's ready for summer. If not, you're in for a rude awakening.
There's one that isn't.
I'm sure Rich is for sure. Aren't you? 3 months of all of this.
No,
You're excited, aren't you?
not even.
I think it's this hot. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan. This is the first time this morning I turned the truck on for the AC. I usually just use the remote start for the winter, but nice to get into a nice cool truck this morning. So anyway, with that said, we'll start off with some public comment this morning. Do we have anybody from the public? Anybody? We'll talk about station wagons. No? Brian, nothing from you?
No, I wouldn't mind talking about station wagons. I'd love that station wagon that her husband had bought. But
It's for sale, I'm told.
I know, and I would get in trouble with my significant other if I brought it. So I've learned that.
You've seen what happened.
I see one significant other talking to another significant other,
Can you?
and this could be. Okay, well, before we dig any deeper here, I might as well close public comment off and we'll move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner McKenna.
Tuesday morning was the Foothills Veterans Coalition. Approved that checks, they send sport checks to boys state and girls state each year.
Okay.
And then they're looking for the parade. They're looking at finding a place with a partial enclosure for the grandstand seating area during the parade to try to protect the winds a little bit.
Maybe not have it facing the north.
They said it's great face north, but they talked about on both Gibson heaters. Although Chuck Sexton said, well, there's usually enough politicians there, there's enough hot air to keep it.
I can see
Directly get right at me, of course. But and then they also had some questions about the Armed Forces Memorial out front. And I knew it was there, but I did not know the details. So I came over here and talked to Cindy and got the details and sent the information out to everybody about how that all works.
That got started when I was the accountant in the treasurer's office, and the lead guys that started that were Burke Byer and Dick Jepson. Or hand in hand with those guys. Yep, that's when we first started doing
Like I
it.
said, they asked me some questions. I knew it was there, but I did not know anything about how it works. So
Yeah,
I got
Burke
the
Byer and Dick Jepson kicked that off and got it going.
Yeah. So, and that's what I assumed. They took out the bricks and what they said, she said they cut the names in right here.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed they took them somewhere and cut them. They just cut them in place.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And then Tuesday afternoon was a progress meeting on the EMS building. Things are going well. And they're supposed to start pouring concrete today. And they said every 3 or 4 days they're pouring concrete for a while now.
Yeah.
And they have a few change orders, but pluses and minuses about even so far. And then I don't know if you're hearing it here. Fort Riley is firing off some stuff. Where they're firing from is about a mile or two south of. It's really
Sounds really.
It's not like
Yeah.
thunder,
It's just-
where I live.
Oh, no, up there it's go boom.
Boom.
Almost feel the repercussion
Yeah.
of it.
We had that about a
I
month
probably can
ago.
go up by the dump. You can probably, I bet you can see them up there because they're probably just right over the hill. Sounds like.
Oh, goodness.
Sound of freedom.
But yeah, sounds great. It was funny. I went to the Raleigh City meeting Tuesday night also. The city attorneys from Clay Center. And I guess he hadn't been there when that went on sometime because he was sitting there and the thing goes crash just before the meeting started. He goes, what happened? What happened? And there he goes, oh.
We do this
He's on
every
the
day.
other side of that, so he's
Yeah.
upwind, yeah.
But he wasn't used to hearing it. Thought something, and it does sound like somebody dropped the bomb. That's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Foggy.
Okay, well, Monday at noon, I attended the county officials luncheon held here. Open discussion was held about space needs and some departments relocating when the EMS building is completed. Planning retreat will be held in September to look at facility needs for the next 3 years. And then a consultant will be hired to facilitate the discussions. Tuesday morning, I was on the InFocus program at K-Man. And I had asked the county appraiser Burson to attend and have a general discussion on property valuations and taxes. Kind of keep the public informed on what's going on.
You had a lot of phone calls, didn't you?
We had 0 phone calls.
0?
0. She must have explained it very well, and she did. She did a really good job. So, I was surprised there weren't any calls.
Typical.
And then Vivian also attended and reported on the health department's community baby shower held at Sunset Zoo and a lot of other events that were held. We did discuss the new EMS building under construction, plus Potter Hall was brought up, and then the courthouse critical needs. Brandon Peebles is leaving K-Man for another job. I think his last day is today. That's kind of sad. So, but he's going to a good job.
He's done a really good job there, done a good job for the community.
Yeah, he has done a really good job. I appreciate him. I appreciate him for the 5.5 years I guess he's been.
Had him there.
Yeah, it will be. And let's see, that afternoon I had a doctor's appointment, caught up on some paperwork. Yesterday was fairly quiet, so I had some time to prepare for today's meeting, make plans for next week, including the Juneteenth activities that will be going on next week. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, I too obviously attended the quarterly county officials luncheon that was here in the BOCC chambers. I think Commissioner Vokey summed it up pretty well. I was also happy we got some extra discussion of some department heads that are usually quiet during those. I just wanted to throw that in there. I always want to welcome those thoughts and ideas, whatever it is that we're discussing. We'd certainly like to have those on occasion. I think it's good to have that dialogue. Tuesday evening, I attended the Kanza United Way Pillar Society leadership event and garden event at the home of Mark and Ellen Kanakadoffel. It's a great event. They had some great food, and it was an opportunity to catch up with some old friends, and including my principal from high school and his wife, who also taught there. I didn't have her as a teacher, but it's great to catch up on there. I hadn't talked to him in years. I don't want to do the math, but years. I had a good conversation there. Got to meet some new people. Really good attendance. And we were able to hear what Kanza United Way is working on moving forward, and some things they're going to be doing in their 2025 campaign. Their kickoff event that they typically have will be on September 17th. I still think that's going to be at the Shamrock in Zone. I'm not for sure on that. They may change locations this year. I'm not for sure. I didn't hear. But big thanks to the Kanakadoffels for being such gracious hosts. We got a really, really awesome backyard setup over there. I was just amazed by that.
I saw them out on the walking trail yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. He was, we were kind of making fun of him. He was kind of dressed up as a kind of an old 80s like golfer, and we were just giving him crap. So it was a good time. Everybody was having fun, and it was a little warm. But when the sun went back down on the other side, it ended up turning out to be a pretty good night. So yeah, we had a good time. Got to talk to some people. I talked to some people from BHS. We were talking about the EMS buildings. They caught me up on that too. And just good all the way around. And for a good cause, obviously, too. So Wednesday afternoon, I listened in on the monthly meeting of NACO's Community Economic and Workforce Steering Committee via Microsoft Teams. After a few introductions and welcomes, we heard from our chair, Martha Schrader, commissioner from my favorite named county in the United States, Clackamas. I was thinking about it yesterday. It'd be a great onomatopoeia for a cartoon character or comic book hero. Clackamas.
It would.
Yeah.
You get them on the map that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next time I talk to her, I'm going to see if they have like T-shirts or something, maybe from their Chamber of Commerce or something I can buy. Help promote them.
Can you spell Clackamas?
I can because it's a target. The better question is, can you? And the better question is, can anybody spell onomatopoeia?
Oh, no hope there.
Bethany?
My name's not that.
Brittany? I was so intertwined with all the other words, it just popped up. Anybody? Anybody?
I used to be able to, like
Yeah.
ONOMAT and then P something.
Okay, well, you're closer than I would have been, so I'm just gonna give you credit. Okay, well, anyway,
Yeah,
we'll move
you
on.
are.
We had a couple guest speakers. Actually, this wasn't a really long meeting. Normally it fills out the entire hour, and it was about 40 minutes. But we had guest speaker number one was Patrick Spears. He's the program manager, Resilience Economies and Communities with NACO. He discussed their new program and applications for counties for housing solutions. It's a cohort that they're doing. Sounds like a really good program, except for the fact that you have to be communities over 500,000. So kind of tuned out on that one immediately. So guest speaker number two was Carl Eckert. He's the vice president, state and local government affairs with the National Association of the Home Builders Association. He discussed and went through their new morning consult survey on the housing affordability results. And as soon as I get that, I'm going to actually send that along because I think they did a really good job and had some really good metrics on that. And it wasn't just completely on housing either. There's some other really good infrastructural data that was involved in that. Rural infrastructure data that was involved in that. I think it would be really good to take a look at that, considering things that are going on here. So when I get that, I'm going to email that to you, Rich. Like for them to be able to take a look at that too. And I'm going to look at it in a little bit more depth as well. And then we got our usual legislative update from Michael Matthews, our legislative director, as well as a preview of next month's annual conference and exposition that will be in Hillsborough County, Florida, basically the Tampa Bay area. I'm not planning on going, so I'll get caught up on that in August or whenever. And then lastly, our chair led a wrap-up discussion and close. And then last night I attended the business after hours event out at RC McGraw's. It's hosted by Q103.5 and McCall Valley Rodeo Association. Very, very well attended. The place was packed. Thank everybody at RC McGraw's for hosting, and of course the Rodeo Association and Q103 for providing the food and entertainment. Had a lot of prizes, giveaways. There's some former K-State football player that's making his own tequila. Pure agave, dangerous stuff. Dangerous stuff. We had this whole like setup thing, glasses and things that you can make. And I had put my name in for that. I don't need to do all that. But anyway, they had some really good prizes and giveaways and kind of leading up to the rodeo and stuff next month. Kind of wonder why they didn't do this next month instead of this month. There's a rhyme or reason for it. But anyway, like I said, it was very well attended, good time. Same as the event on Tuesday, get to meet some new people, talk to some old, good networking. So anyway, that's all I got.
Ready for business?
Yep.
Need a motion to approve highway use permit for Twin Valley.
Where is that subdivision? I can't tell from this map.
Is
Is it a
that,
subdivision or is it just?
what was the address on that?
Rimrock.
I believe that's University
University
Park.
Park.
That's what it's called.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the highway use permit granting Twin Valley permission to complete work as outlined in the permit.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the highway use permit granting Twin Valley permission to complete the work as outlined in the permit. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Just one signature, huh?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Need a motion to approve highway use permit for Cox Communication.
I move to approve the highway use permit, granting Cox Communication permission to complete work as outlined in the permit.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the highway use permit granting Cox Communications permission to complete work as outlined in the permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Never seen a signature like that.
Yeah, you're not so lucky on the next one. I guess it is a single signature per page, so.
You're not funny.
Next, I need a motion to approve the CIP project activations as presented and discussed at the last commission meeting.
That's so long ago.
What is PW?
What?
Public Works.
Public Works, yep.
Okay. I don't like acronyms.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Okay. The RCPD one, that's for 2 floors, correct? The bathroom and the
Yeah, the
kitchen,
bathroom and kitchen.
bathroom and kitchen. That seems
So
kind of,
here's my question. Who was right on the numbers?
Turns out neither one of us were right because.
Well, I was right based on the number she had.
Yeah, because
But the numbers on the paper were wrong.
The public works, but yeah, neither one.
My
of us
math
were
was right based on her total.
And my math was right based on my spreadsheet.
uh-oh.
See how that works?
Yes, okay. We ready for the motion? Okay, I would make a motion to approve the CIP project activations listed above totaling $1,220,000, $100,248.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the CIP project activation list above totaling 1.2 million, $200,000 and $248. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign all the way down to the bottom right, Commissioner Ford.
Okay. Well, it's colorful.
Yeah, that is a colorful form.
Yeah, we don't have very many of these. Boy, it's been a while since I've seen these.
That's why there's so many.
Right?
There will be more forthcoming.
Well, I've been on hold. Get this numbers nailed down.
Oh, I didn't date any of these, Rich.
That's okay. Yeah. Next, commissioners, I need a motion for the change order final for Fancy Creek Bridge and amount of a deduct of $3,775, total price $360,991.32.
That's why you're here this morning. Gotcha.
Exactly.
He comes to this.
Great reduction. Yeah.
It's always
They send
good.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I moved to approve the change order to reduce the total project cost of $360,991.32.
I would second that.
Been moved and approved to the change order to reduce the total project cost to $360,991.32. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Well, this is one. And when did I sign?
Didn't get to have all the fun today.
Thank you. Next, commissioner, need a motion to sign the Randolph City Hall contract for the commission meeting to be held up there June 27th.
Did we do that last year?
Yeah, they do charge for it.
They charged us.
They do.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve the Randolph City Hall contract for the Board of Riley County Commission meeting in Randolph on June 27th.
How much?
$50, it's on there.
Second. No,
$50,
second.
$100 deposit if alcohol present, can we? It's evening.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go with the $50 version.
BYOB.
Might get more people.
Well, that's true.
See, now you're thinking, Commissioner, beer and
Well, we do need
pizza.
to make back the $50, so
Beer
there's a
and
thought.
pizza.
Yeah.
I think we should do that.
They give Brian something to do.
I'm just looking for things.
We can grant ourselves a cereal malt beverage license, can't we?
I'll have to look into it, Commissioner.
Look into it.
I'll look.
I'm curious, just for knowledge sake. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Randolph City Hall contract for the Board of Riley County Commission meeting in Randolph on June 27th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
It's not a bad rental fee, even if you have alcohol, it's still not too bad.
Yeah, but
Still,
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that too.
Yeah. we can just reduce the amount they get it.
Next, I have a Riley County Employee Action Form for Antheo Castillo for a status change, Deputy Chief of Administration intern. All three, please sign.
intern.
It's part of the program that
Oh,
the military program start out as an intern and then transition into. Any topics, commissioners, for the intergovernmental luncheon?
Did Amanda talking about the comprehensive plan?
I believe so. Mhm. Any topics for the city county meeting?
That one I confirmed with Jared. He's going to talk about the joint 24
Yeah, US
corridor plan.
24 quarter. Okay, sounds good.
Jared Tremblay from the NPO, sorry.
Okay.
He also said that he mentioned that to our partners to the east. So just throwing that out there. We may have some involvement there.
Oh, I'm sure.
When do we get all the extra partners over there? Is that already in effect?
Potawatomi County.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
But they're getting 2 additional commissions.
Well, that would be next year.
Is that next year
Yeah.
that starts? Okay.
Election.
Election this year, that would start. in January.
13 candidates over there.
Is that,
I know. I was kind of surprised, but I kind of wasn't surprised.
that's good.
Next, I need a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
Okay, let's see. It's my turn. I'd make a motion to approve the accounts payable and payroll.
Second.
And seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please. Then Commissioners, Lauren Page at the city had sent an email to Cindy. The interim city manager, Jason Hilders, would like to know what topics the commissioners would like him to cover at the next update.
Probably be good to talk about road construction projects.
When are they going to fix them?
Or the ones that are in progress anyway.
Got it?
Um,
Mhm.
Well, I gotta think. Anybody else?
Well, there is a Aquatic center discussion.
Yeah, okay, so.
in sales tax. As a matter of fact, one of the city commissioners came and visited me on that subject this week.
Yeah, you missed the first page there.
Yeah,
You did.
okay.
No. Did I just pass it on?
I think you just passed it on. Okay.
I
I'll pass it back to you.
Passing them on.
Uh,
I haven't had to sign anything, so I wasn't paying attention.
So you want sales tax and aquatic center or what
That'll
other
work.
topics?
Yeah. Maybe just a general budget overview of where they're at.
And if it's, they didn't approve, did they approve that yet?
No,
No, they're just starting. So city budget or
yeah,
any others?
they might talk about that particular position too. You know, they've got 44 candidates.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
Uh-huh.
44
I think
applications.
from 17 states. Can't remember what from all over the country. It's not like regional.
Oh, I'm sure with that many.
Yeah.
They have a consultant
They are
already,
working with
Yeah.
somebody.
they got one,
Mhm.
yeah, and they still haven't been, they're gonna narrow it down, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna narrow it down to like 8 or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll guarantee not all 44 are probably qualified. It's like every position you post. You get 100 candidates doesn't really mean you have 100 candidates. How are the minutes look, commissioners? Any changes?
Not at first glance.
Move to approve the minutes of the June 10th meeting.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the June 10th meeting. The Riley County Commission is written. All in favor?
Aye.
Tentative agendas look, commissioners?
Good.
Any items for next week's press conference? Of course, I will be on there to announce that we're going to be discontinuing wildlife parks and fish and game permits effective July 1, so I will be on there. And coincide with that, the move's looking like it should be right about that time period, and that's the primary reason why we're doing it, so.
July, are we still at July 1st or?
They're still shooting for that. There's gonna be a lot of activity. They're working in there this Saturday,
Okay.
and so the electricians have really kind of been the only hang up difficulty, so.
So I'm walking over here this morning, right? And I'm looking up out there. I'm like, man, I can see lights through the windows.
Isn't that nice?
I can't see lights through the other windows.
You can't see through the windows at all.
Exactly. That was my point.
Makes you realize what the other
Yeah.
windows
Thanks, Evan.
condition is.
Thanks, everybody.
Just the brightness that adds to those
Oh, yeah.
offices.
Are those the energy efficient, the low E windows?
Double pane,
Propane and they look like they're.
Manco.
Yeah, it's a powder that's on the inside. I built those windows. They're on the inside of them and then reflects light accordingly. It's a real neat process how they do that. You know, we had that tornado in '08. We got a whole bunch of windows in from various places where the windows weren't destroyed. The sealant, the stuff wasn't destroyed, but it sucked all the coating out from the windows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Use your microwave, Greg. You missed a signature there too, Greg.
Yeah, I did too. They keep adding them. It used to be like one signature. Missed that one.
Anybody get a chance to look at the SEO Park improvements?
Yeah,
Did a good job with that.
it's a lot better than the first one.
I wonder what happened between discussions between the school district and putting the,
I don't know.
In the paper said they're still in negotiating.
that's still.
That work will be paid for by the school. If that happens, it's gonna be paid by the school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if nothing happens, they're gonna leave that
Okay.
gravel parking lot. I imagine you'll tell them so.
Yeah, and they've only got like 8 tennis courts and they said they had to do 11. So what happened to the other 30?
I thought it was 12.
Or was it
It was 12.
And they've only got 8, like it was.
And ask for a 15-minute executive session for some pending litigation.
Okay.
That's okay?
Oh, dear.
Well, we need to make a motion for it first.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
We want to do it right now.
No, we'll do it. We could do it when the 9 o'clock starts.
Well, it is 9 o'clock.
Oh, it is. It just hit 9 o'clock. Yeah. So let's do it now.
Okay.
So need to make a motion to do the executive session and then the executive session.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to add an executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to add an executive session to the administrative work session time. All in favor?
Aye.
Nice.
You said you want 15 or what? You got
15, just 15.
Okay. Move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Brian Parker, Deputy County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, with exception to the Kansas Open Meeting Act. The open meeting to resume in the County Commission chamber at 9:15.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded that the county commission move into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Brian Parker, Deputy County Counselor, with the open meeting resuming back at the commission chamber at 9:15 a.m. All in favor? Aye.
Commissioners,
I just delete them.
I move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
I,
I move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Set that up.
Well, commissioners, for the remainder of my the county councilors work session, administrative work session time, I thought I would just let everyone know that I had the privilege of speaking with Miss Joanne Zonner, who's the chairwoman of or president, I can't remember her title, of the University Park Board. And we're plowing right ahead on getting the land swap deal done and finalized.
Good.
And also been working with our internal department heads and Bob Isaac on getting everything processed for, since we have to follow our own rules about getting our site approved and everything. We don't get to waive those, and we wouldn't want to anyway.
Don't shake your head over there, Joe.
I know. It's you put a planner and an attorney in a room together and things just happen. But it seems like
And an engineer. It's got to be three, so don't forget the engineer.
It happened, it was just the interview faster.
That's right. So that's coming along swimmingly, and I can't think of, apart from, seems like I've already got my head in about 15 different things. And so if anybody has, but we're going and blowing. This is that time of year in government. Summer is when we really are doing a lot. So let me know if you have any questions.
I have a thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
You have multiple questions.
I've got more stuff.
More stuff.
Bring it on.
Hey, Wyatt, do you have a minute before your time?
Yeah.
I just figured I would ask you.
Why would you need a gas line?
Thought it was a K on the sheet of the pen.
There's a gas line. It's only an easement for gas. Dry,
No,
unless there's one there.
It's my
feeds.
It's in the map. It's on page 52.
If I've talked to the mayor, really, I've talked to several residents out there.
Maybe I'll ask him.
Go to the channel, you're gonna just pay it off to the bond.
I was trying to think. Bathrooms, that doesn't connect to the bathrooms.
Oh, that is interesting.
I just figured I'd leave it today, since you were.
Sidewalk only goes that far, and this is their property.
Community fire pit or what?
I don't know, actually. It goes to this, whatever it is. Some little. Okay.
Would be the man to tell you.
Number 3, board consultation.
What's this? That's building, there's some kind of building that.
it's not a video, it's a sign.
Commissioners, I have an appointment at noon, so Cindy will come in 11:45 for the last one.
Did you hear that, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's very, that won't be long.
It's not legal's fault. I'm just pointing that out.
That kind of is. He's an attorney.
Yeah.
Kind of is, walk right into that one.
we can trace a lot back to you.
Yeah.
But I have to be nice because he gave me a spare Egg McMuffin.
Oh.
So it's not legal's fault.
Thanks for standing up.
Not this legal's fault.
Not legal's fault.
Just to clarify, you can be bought.
For cheap.
Okay.
It's just.
Yes, Egg McMuffin, okay, noted.
Oh, I like this. Spread the word.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that contraption that you had this morning there.
Oh, yeah, that mocha Like, oh, it's
I gained 5 pounds just looking at that.
a walking advertisement for our local McDonald's franchisees. And I'm proud of that, right?
Ready
On
for
that
Wyatt?
note, Wyatt.
Hey.
Steve, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Wyatt Thompson, Assistant City Manager for Manhattan. Thank you for the time this morning. Just wanted to bring you all up to speed on where we're at with the SEO Park improvements. We met in February, kind of shared with you at that time where we were in the design, talked about some easements and maybe agreements that we would need to get in place before we go to construction first of next year. Since that time, we have continued to work with our partners at BHS and Schwab Eaton and Bruce McMillan Architects on the design. We have a final concept and 30% construction documents prepared. We have BHS is finalizing their guaranteed maximum price proposal that will be presented to the City Commission on July 2nd. And so we're narrowing in on that next phase of the project. We've taken the concept drawings, which were in your packet, and we'll run through here in a second to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board at the city, and they recommended approval to move that on. And we've also taken that concept to the city's SEO Park Advisory Committee, which the City Commission formed, and which you all have a representative on. And they approved that unanimously as well to move on to that next step. So I wanted to make sure that you all were up to speed and talk about a few of the minor changes that have occurred since February with the design, and make sure that you all are still on board with the easements that we've discussed previously. So this is a picture of the overall concept, still largely the same, reconstruction of ball field areas and construction of 4 new ball fields, 2 softball, 2 baseball, central concessions area, warm-up areas, seating, sports lighting would be available for park and rec programs, community use, tournaments, and as well as Manhattan High baseball and softball. So really no changes with the bigger picture of that. Just to orient you real quick, sorry, this is turn to the right. So north is to the right side. This is Kimball Avenue. Reith Avenue is at the bottom. And Robinson Drive is here out on the left. So the city Seco pool and the county playground would be off the screen to the left to the south. So baseball fields at the north end, 8 new tennis courts on USD 383 property at the south end, and replacing the 3 that are there. So we want to zoom in real quick on the baseball fields, and specifically this area where we interface with the county property. We have talked previously about, limiting our paved and parking lot improvements to the city's property, which we're showing here. I did meet with John Ellerman, your county engineer, a couple of weeks ago to preview some of this discussion. He asked if we could, to make sure that we could get large trucks in through this entrance from Kimball at Candlewood and into this parking lot. And we have had Schwab Eaton check that, and they can get a semi-trailer through there. So that should accommodate any large vehicles that you would all need for your activities into this entrance. This is an area that is a little bit different than what we showed you before. One of the biggest challenges in this area is the stormwater that flows off of county property onto the city's property. And what that does is it contributes to some of the flooding that's on the ball fields. To address that, we are raising the elevation of the ball fields to try to create more positive drainage. The other challenge we have here is that gravel from the county's parking lot washes off onto the city's property, onto our ADA parking spaces, and makes those inaccessible for users that need those. And some of that gravel also ends up on our fields and in the grass, and it becomes a maintenance challenge for our staff, as well as some safety issues for the players if they're hitting balls out toward the fence. So we challenged our design team to find solutions for that. We previously showed this green area. This is a ditch. We previously showed that ditch all the way across here, and that was an attempt to try to capture and redirect that water and use that as an area to clean out the gravel. We didn't like that solution, so we had to explore some more things. And what they've shown now is right along the property line, which is right here between these parked cars, would be a concrete flume, like a large gutter. So it would pay right on the property line on either side. That would capture the water and direct it to a few storm inlets. And there's a series of storm inlets at this entrance. There's 4. 2 of them would be on city property, 2 of them would be on county property. And those inlets and that flume would direct all that stormwater and gravel into that storm sewer system. It would go underground, and then this area over here would be where that gravel would be deposited. This would be a larger paved flume where the city could get in with a piece of equipment and scrape that gravel out and either dispose of it or return it to the county if you all wanted to respread it on the parking lot or do whatever you needed with it. But this system, we think, will be more easy to for our staff to maintain and prevent those problems that we've had with those fields in the past. It would require, we would envision a drainage easement that would need to be placed over that area. The city would propose to construct all of that storm sewer infrastructure and own and maintain it. And that drainage easement would describe those responsibilities. But we would need to request, permission, obviously, to construct those inlets. It would require a bit of reconstruction of this paved road. We would repave that when we're done with the project. And so that area through there is an addition from what we've talked about previously, but we think it's a better solution that will ultimately serve both the city and the county and the taxpayer in that area. The other thing that is that we're still exploring that we haven't talked about before is a gas line easement from Avery into the complex. This is one scenario that has been explored along the south edge of the county's parking lot. We are exploring other options that may not be quite as disruptive. Obviously, it would be underground. It would restore everything to what it would need to existing conditions. But that line, a new line would be there. And so that is something that we'd like your feedback on, if that's something you're open to. We are looking at finding a way to get it from Kimball and maybe through this parking lot. We're working with Kansas Gas to understand what their requirements are as to where we can tap and how long the line can be and all those things. That line would provide gas to the central concessions building in the center of the baseball complex.
Okay, so that would be for a range and hot water heater, or what would that?
It would be for our hot water heaters.
Hot water heaters.
Yeah. And then real quick on tennis, and we can go back to those new discussions. The tennis is largely the same as what we saw previously. We have proposed a new sidewalk along Robinson Drive to connect into existing sidewalk networks. I was just out at Seco Pool the other day and saw a woman pushing a stroller up the hill in the roadway. I've seen people walking on the edge of the roadway. I know fair traffic if they're parking in the county's parking lots or the MATC parking lots. This side, it would be a wider sidewalk. It would give people opportunity to walk safely to the tennis courts, to the pool, to Bishop Stadium, to the county fairgrounds during activities. Then those sidewalks would connect into sidewalks at the tennis complex itself. There is some grading that would occur here at the end of the parking lot. And so, whether that would impact a little bit of county parking, but most of this parking on the county's property would stay intact. And then we would propose, this is paved now. I don't know exactly what it's used for, but we would suggest that it be marked for ADA parking. Doesn't have to be, but it seems like an opportunity to have a few accessible spaces in proximity to both the tennis complex as well as some additional spaces that could serve Bishop Stadium or other uses on the property. So
You narrowed down the tennis complex, wasn't it originally 12?
we originally had 12 courts. From a budgetary standpoint, we're tight on budget, and so this was an area that we couldn't get those additional courts into the budget. And also the tournaments that we can host really only require 8.
Gotcha.
Asia has some different rules. USTA has some different rules. The only thing we can't host at this facility is a state tournament, which we wouldn't host every year anyway. It would be on rotation. And so this allows us to host regionals and kind of mid-level USTA tournaments. The district was on board with it. They have some other desire for the rest of their property with throwing events and things. So they prioritize space for those events versus additional tennis courts.
That's what I understand. They're still talking about putting the throwing events, but that'd be under their, then take out that other part, that.
Skate.
We are, yeah, so we're still talking about that. What's shown in the green here, for the tennis court areas, that's kind of the base project. I would anticipate, and that's what the commission will review on July 2nd at the city. We would anticipate a follow-up to that meeting with the Board of Education and the city commissioners to look at this area between the tennis and the ball fields where the skate park is. That's where they've identified that they would like the throwing to move to. And so that would be added to the project potentially at a later time. Is there feedback on the stormwater and utility improvements that we've shown here?
How, you said you're gonna raise the ball fields up. How high would you raise them?
I think it's about 2 feet.
2 feet?
So it's not gonna be flat from the parking lot all the way across. You'll still go down into the center of the complex, but it will be higher than it is today.
Yeah.
Which allows us to elevate those infields
Okay,
and get positive drainage away from those out into the grass where it'll drain then to storm sewer infrastructure that'll be built around the complex.
You get that significant rain, that softball field becomes a pond.
Yes.
Yes, I see that every time.
And
So
then it takes a while to dry out and
Yeah.
we can't get kids back on it. So yeah, lots of storm drainage infrastructure and grading is a part of the project.
now those fields, will that be regular grass or is that gonna be artificial?
We will have natural grass in the outfields and we'll have synthetic turf on the infields.
Okay.
So they'll be very similar to what's out at Annenberg Park in the Twin Oaks complex today, where we have that same setup.
Okay. Makes sense.
So our intent would be to pending approval on July 2nd, that would initiate the second phase of the contract with BHS and our design team. They would use the next 6 months to finalize the design, start getting hard bids for all of the improvements, and then, mobilize and start construction first of the year. Construction would last on the ball fields. We'd be open for spring season so February and March of 2026. And then the tennis might lag a little bit behind into the summer of 2026. So about a year and a half total construction. We would like to use the next 180 days to formalize the agreements and the easements that would be necessary to construct these improvements. And so I'm glad that you've got a new deputy county counselor on board that we can work with to finalize those. So our plan would be, pending your feedback today, to write up those easements and agreements and get those to Brian so that he can review those and work with you all on that language, and then bring those agreements back to you at a future time before the end of the year to execute all those so that we can start construction with everybody's permission.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, it's been a long, hard road to get to this point. So
It's taken a little bit of time. Yeah, we started this process in 2015 almost, and 17 funding source, and lots of work here in the last 2 years. So any final questions or feedback? Maybe turn back a few of my minutes here.
kind of a bittersweet moment for me. It's going to look a lot different. I grew up on those ball fields myself, so it's bittersweet, but it's necessary. Future kids will have future memories there. That's what's important. So
Our park and rec director, Aaron Stewart, also grew up on those fields, worked
Sure
those
did.
fields, and so he's got the same nostalgia about the center complex.
I think we actually played against each other
You might
on
have.
those fields.
You
You
might
know,
have
now that I
about
think
the
about
same
it, yeah.
age, so, yeah, I think it'll be a good improvement. It will change the look of the park. We are trying to find ways in the design details to bring back, some of the colors, maybe, the blue, gold, green, fields, and how do we kind of recall some of that in the new design. I think some of those details are yet to be worked out, but
Well, you're keeping the same kind of configuration there, so that's a
Yes.
start. And
I really like that warm up area
I
that they
do
got
too.
there.
And that was always a thing there too, because you always had to, if I remember right, we always either had to use the parking lot or we were kind of warming up in the sidewalk area growing up. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll provide a lot of opportunity for teams and community members.
Yeah. All right. Good deal.
All right, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Thanks, Wyatt. Next commissioner, we have David Adams.
I gotta listen to David now.
Don't have to. You can tell him to go home.
Congratulations.
This is a tough one.
This isn't even for me.
Yeah, I have actually a couple questions on this one, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, EMS Ambulance Director. I'm here. Potawatomi County has asked again, about I think the third straight year, to use one of our patient haulers, UTVs, for their 4th of July celebration in Wamego. Every year they borrowed last, like I said, 3 years. They take very good care of our equipment. It's brought back clean, full of fuel, no issues at all. And they're very grateful for that. And I will tell you that they are starting the process of purchasing one of
Okay,
themselves.
that's what I
So,
was gonna
yeah,
ask.
so I think, my guess is they won't have it before next year's because the lead time on them, but they've been approved and they've already reached out. We've given them all the information that we had on what we purchased. I've talked with them, about what things we look for, things to maybe stay away from, keeping in mind. So, but that's what this is for. So, but yes, I figured that was gonna be.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, in the national scheme of things, I mean, this particular event is becoming more and more popular and a bit larger and larger and larger. And Wamego itself has doing a pretty good job of doing other events, Tulip
Yeah.
Festival, Ozfest,
They've got.
Oktoberfest, not Ozfest, that's a whole different thing, my bad.
Yeah, and they've got state cross country there and quite
Yeah,
a few different
Right,
things. So I think
they're really bringing in events there, and
absolutely.
to me, this is the natural progression that you kind of need one of these. I mean, I don't have any problems providing it, but yeah.
So I know that they've received the permission to purchase one. So now they're putting together a small spec sheet.
Good for them. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I just thought
Yep.
it might be time just for them to start thinking about it.
They
Buying-
certified that as
Buying
well.
some things, yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can't buy anything off the shelf.
No.
no, our UTV is it'll be hopefully here by the end of football season. And we ordered it a year ago. So
Yeah, it's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I would make a motion to grant the request to use the EMS ambulance patient hauler for the Wamego 4th of July celebration from July 3rd through the 5th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recommend, oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong one here. For Potawatomi County to use the patient hauler UTV from July 3rd to July 5th for the Wamego 4th of July celebration, Boomtown celebration. I can throw that in there. Boomtown celebration. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
On another note, the pouring concrete, I took some pictures, sent them to Vivian.
Good.
So, but they said they were supposed to pour 70 yards of concrete, but it's gonna be more than that today. So, but they're full swing.
I talked to Kelly Carl last night.
Nice and warm and
Right,
dry.
I usually talk to
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
It'll
yeah.
dry quick.
Good
They were
concrete
excited
pour,
about it.
but
Yeah, they emailed me this morning.
Actually,
Remind me
it
that
dries
they want
too
concrete.
quick.
too
Good,
quick.
good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's just footing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, actual visual, yeah, it's visual progress.
Absolutely.
Good
Yeah,
deal, good deal. I have to drive over there this afternoon, just take a peek at that.
absolutely. All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. Morning. How's everybody? Is it warm out there?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Humid and
Mhm.
appreciate the county's air.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's not all that cool in here.
Huh?
It's not all that cool.
Yeah.
Better than outside, I guess.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Person.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Let's set it off. Yeah.
I hope the rain didn't totally shut off on us all of a sudden.
There. There's chance of rain tonight, except this morning now they're saying it could probably be most of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And because they're talking about severe weather, hail and everything, but it was here this morning, was showing up really, the border, a little bit of Kansas and then Missouri.
Really? I'd take some rain.
The other day they were talking about saying hail, 97 degrees and then hail. I'm like, didn't even make sense.
I know. Sometimes when it gets really extremely hot like this, it can whip up some crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
stirs it up. But that's what I was talking about. Not only the heat, but then the wind getting this hot and the wind is going to dry stuff out.
Mhm. Does it?
The garden's been so used to being nice and wet, it's going to
It does it quickly too.
dry it out.
Well, my tomatoes are sprouting up. And I even got them in
I
light.
got 2 little tomatoes, and it's on the paste side, Roma.
Uh-huh.
And one, because I had space, so I went up. She had a few scraggly ones that she'd marked down, the leftovers. So I bought a couple of them. 2 of them were making it. One of them, I'm not sure, but it was, I had space, so I
Mhm.
grabbed a couple. He said, and the tomatoes are growing, and the peppers that I planted at the same time look the same as when I planted them.
Oh, really?
They're not dying, but they're not.
Peppers really thrive in hot weather. That's when they really
Yeah.
take off. It's hot weather. Yeah, they'll sit still until it gets really hot and they'll take off.
Pumpkin vines, I'm kind of direct them back.
Yeah, I need to figure out when I'm gonna plant my pumpkins.
They're taking off.
Squash bugs are already showing up.
Oh, really? I don't believe that.
Yeah,
All I ought to
Darnell,
be turning over those pumpkin leaves.
Darnell said she watered yesterday and she killed several. And we went out to, wanted to go out and show me the garden last night. In the evening, I went and looked and I killed 3 more. And the plants are just tiny right now, so they can't hide very good, so.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I killed 3 more, so I was glad to find them. But that's not a good sign. Those things frustrate me.
That last minute is always the longest.
We could have, what was it, Europe's the final countdown?
Yes.
I always seem to get that stuck in my head at the most inopportune times.
I get a little psyched out at that.
Join the club.
And Eye of the Tiger, that's the other one.
Oh. 90s K-State football.
Some of Bill Snyder's favorites. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Darren Solden,
Director of Economic Development at the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for the opportunity to come in this morning and update on a couple programs. You're going to hear from me on a few things that I've been mentioning the last several months, but kind of what I give you an update on where progress is on that. One is small business funding, and so there is. As I mentioned, there is a local review committee that is meeting now on a monthly basis. That's been expanded out. Some of these new programs that came on board, the Elevate Microloan Fund up to $15,000, Empower Fund, which is a Network Kansas program for minority-owned businesses up to $15,000. Those are both new to us in this region in Radnor County. Those are both up and going, have approved over the course of the last 2 months, have approved 2 loans each in each of those programs and have good pipeline. That's their restaurant retail tends to be what we've seen so far, but I know there's some other things coming down the pipe. So excited about that. We will include that a kind of matrix from work with Spark and Stephanie Pierce very closely on the administration of that. We will include an update with a matrix of kind of where we're at as far as pipeline, loans approved, dollar amounts approved, information on the businesses going forward. So I think that's something you'll start seeing from me on a regular basis. Those are really important programs and something we want to make sure we keep in front of you. The other thing I've talked about the last couple of months, wanted to update it as well on is our economic development growth planning process. So thanks to Commissioner Ford for being part of the technical advisory committee on that effort. We are working with a economic development strategist named Matt Tarleton. Matt has done work in Kansas before. Matt does work all over the country, very well regarded. Has actually worked with the state of Kansas and the governor's office and the Kansas Department of Commerce here a couple of years ago to complete the state of Kansas framework for growth plan. And so he has some familiarity of the state, but he is just in the process of finishing up the assessment phase of that plan. So there's been interviews, we did a survey, there's been a lot of comparative analysis. Would encourage you to look at June 25th. We're doing an Advanced Manhattan Investor Breakfast that morning. We're open up beyond that group. If you have not gotten an invitation, please make sure that I'll make sure that you do. But something out to Advanced Manhattan investors and to
Did you get that invitation?
I don't think so.
okay.
I have it. I can email it over to Rich and go from there.
Okay, we appreciate that, but I will make sure, I will double check to make sure that that we have all of you, not just the chair on that list. So that event will be 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, and we'll get an update on the assessment component of the project. So the next steps on that over the next 6 to 8 weeks will be putting together a framework of recommendations and some strategies and tactics and things that we can take on to ultimately look at how do we better grow the economy in this region. And so again, this is very much a targeted growth plan, and I look forward to in a couple of months and the opportunity to update you on some specifics of that plan. And then lastly, it's been in the news a lot the last several days. The Caterpillar announcement over in Wamego, just to let you know that it impacts our regional economy. Let you know that there is a lot of good work going on that. Potawatomi County Economic Development Corporation is leading that effort. We, as their partners through the Greater Manhattan Economic Partnership, are supporting as we can. But a lot of work going on both at the local and state level, and both with the immediacy of what was announced, but also we're trying to ensure that long term there's a job creating operations going on in Wamego in that facility, and it continues to be a driver of economic activity in our region. So again, it's a lot of that going on right now, and kudos to the folks across the region and at the state for their engagement on that situation. Those are always tough, but we've got good people doing the right work right now to address that. So with that, if you have any questions for me, happy to answer. Anyways, I'll hand it over to Christian to talk about military related activities.
Good morning, all. It has been a very busy couple last weeks. For Memorial Day, I had the honor to go with not only the myself, but also the Junction City Chamber to Washington DC with a partnership between Senator Marshall and the Greater Community Foundation. They were able to send 12 Gold Star family members to travel to DC for the rededication of the First Infantry Monument. And also during that time, they were able to put 631 names of soldiers who lost their lives from Fort Riley during the Iraq and Afghanistan's. And so it was a great event. And like I said, it was just great to see family members who were able to have some of that closure, but also continue to share the story of their loved ones who, again, fought for our freedom. Soldiers, so the CG and Sergeant Major took soldiers from Sustainment Brigade and they traveled to the 80th D-Day celebration. And actually yesterday, Sergeant Major Noyes was able to talk about 3 heroic soldiers that they met during this trip and how they answered their call of freedom. They ranged from anywhere in the ages. I think one of the soldiers was 98 and then the other one was 101. So again, just great to see those service members still talk about their chances to fight for freedom. Victory Week wraps up this week, so you haven't heard too many sounds of freedoms going on, and that's because this week, First Infantry Division celebrating their 107th birthday, take the whole week to just have various activities, sporting events, and it's just a chance for units to come together and be cohesive. And Victory Week wraps up with the Victory Cup presentation. So tomorrow they will announce the battalion that has collected the most points and will be the winner for the whole year. And so there is a presentation and a division review tomorrow at 9:30 at the Cavalry Parade Field. In the afternoon, we will say goodbye to General Nell and the Chief of Staff. For those of you who don't know, General Nell is the Deputy Commanding General Officer, Commander of Support, and she was the first officer to serve as a lead at division. And so their ceremony will be at 2:00 in front of the flagpole at Victory, Building 580. And then also one last thing tomorrow, if you don't know, is the Army's 249th birthday. And so not only will we be celebrating that, but it is also Flag Day. So I invite all of us, or all of you, to join in front of City Hall at 9:00 for the raising of the flag, which will be presented by the Boy Scout Troop 74. So any questions? Lots of things going on.
I'll be there Flag Day. I plan on speaking.
Okay, awesome.
And I think I'm going to be there for I deal with General Nate too, I think. Yeah.
Bring a fan, might be
Okay.
able to toast.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
So lots of things going on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thank you all.
Okay. Thank you. Stay cool out there.
The best.
Anybody seen that First Infantry Division monument in DC?
Wow, God, it's gorgeous.
Where's it at? It's on the very southwest corner of the lawn over in the White House.
Oh, wow.
So it's literally just off of Constitution Avenue over there. Yeah, it's white marble, it's gold. It's
Is that over there
beautiful.
close to the Second World War?
Yeah, it'd be
Where the
just right.
soldiers are.
Yeah, it'd just be right up across the way from there on the other side of Constitution Avenue.
Oh, okay.
It's
I haven't been there
gorgeous.
for a while.
It's just a big tall monument. It's white. It's white marble and gold, but
Wow.
yeah, it stands out. It's really cool. You know.
See, I don't know. My favorite thing to do is, I think, without exception, is to walk the mall and go to the monuments at night when they're all lit up.
I like it early in the morning.
Yeah, that's peaceful.
It's the most peaceful time across the metroplex there in the district. Yeah,
Really.
yeah, 5:30, 6:00 in the morning. Just right when the sun's coming up.
Well, I think you can tell me about it. 5:36 in the morning.
I usually head over to the Lincoln Memorial and just let the Uber drop me off, and I don't know, I just walk. I don't have a general purpose in mind. I just end up somewhere.
Yeah,
Then have them pick me back up. And
that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss going to DC since my daughter moved away.
She's closer to DC than you are.
Well, yeah, but it's still getting there.
Yeah, gotcha.
I take the train. You know,
I usually just do an Uber because about 90% of them have Tesla and it's just easy to get in.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's easy.
yeah. Yeah, Monument, if you get a chance, you should see it.
Yeah, I'd
It's-
like to see
It's
that.
worth it.
Life was so much simpler before. It's supposed to be, make life easier.
That's Saturday, yeah.
At least Friday afternoon.
I'm starting to run on fumes here. With that in mind, we need a motion.
I'd move to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Board of Health.
Can second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commission and then reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Or just, yeah.
Julie Gibbs with the Health Department. Here's my monthly report for June, reflecting back on the month of May. So as usual, Shelley's provided the expenses and revenues by department, which you see here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing looks as it usually does this time of year. Any questions on the budget? Going to my program updates. So starting with the clinic, they saw 383 total appointments in May, with 158 of those being Title X family planning visits. They delivered 199 immunizations across 119 patients. As far as outreach events in May, they were pretty busy with the Flint Hills Festival. They were also at Power Produce and the Community Baby Shower, which was held this past Saturday. And I have a whole other slide on that. Upcoming events will be at Juneteenth this Saturday. It'll be nice and hot.
Yeah.
We're also hosting, or the clinic's hosting a vaccine clinic for USD 3D3, and they'll also be at more Power Produce happening at the farmers market on Saturdays this summer. Childcare licensing has also been busy. They're currently investigating 8 complaints and working on 11 initial surveys. As you can see from this visit chart, they made a total of 36 visits across the 5 counties in the month of May. Most of those were conducted in Riley County and most were annual inspections. Heather had 22 providers and staff come in for fingerprinting in May.
So question on that. How does the reimbursements and stuff work for that when we're doing these in other counties?
Reimbursements from,
The work that we're doing in other counties.
so
We're using our people. How does that work?
So we're using our people yet to go out and do the work in other counties. So we do get some aid to local funding from KDHE, which we're actually inspecting or investigating right now to look at what they're giving us per county and what it's actually costing. So Brittany's working with us on that. So we'll have more on that shortly. We also have a list of what fees from the facilities that we have not captured over the years as well. So we'll have that for you as well.
Yeah, that's coming real soon. I just reviewed that information yesterday and it'll be next week, I imagine. I'll be getting a presentation on it.
No offense to anybody at the department, but that number is getting larger and larger, and I feel like we're subsidizing it.
Yeah, I didn't realize we had Dickinson County.
Yes, that's 5 counties.
Yeah, was that the file? Okay.
We had a meeting with staff and it's Heather that's in charge of the
Yeah.
childcare and she does a great job. She's so
She does.
sensitive though and so concerned about the employees and it's like I said, it's her own fault. They do a great job and
Yeah.
the state knows it. And so that's why
Yeah, I know.
they call on us, but we're just asking the state to fully fund us for it, which they're
Right.
not. And so you'll be getting presented the information. It's frustrating and why the other counties don't step up and at least give us funding too if we're providing it for them. So,
Yeah.
but our
That's a
program is great. And our
That's
director
a conversation I think we're probably gonna have to have with each of the counties.
and our staff is doing a great job. That's why the state keeps coming to us. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victim of early success.
and that's what I told Heather at our last meeting.
Yeah.
I said, it's your own fault, Heather. You're just too good at what you guys do.
They are, and
but
I applaud them for that. I really do applaud you for that.
she is very sensitive to impacts on staff.
I
if we
understand.
don't. So, but she's very worried about that.
Yes, we'll definitely have more.
Okay, sorry, I'm watching that number and it
Yeah.
seems like it's getting pretty close to 40 and I'm like, we're having this dialogue with other departments too. I'm not just putting you guys under the microscope, so don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Tell Heather, don't take it personally either, but
That's,
yeah, I know she's going to, but I just,
that's what we told her.
Yeah.
That's what I told her specifically.
it's really an issue I have with the state more than anything, but,
The bad thing is it's the counties. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the frustrating thing. I mean,
Well,
as you know, some of the neighboring counties criticize us. So it's like, well, why in the heck don't you do it yourself? then?
right.
You have a health department, so why don't you do it instead of criticizing us for the processes?
It's gonna be time to have that dialogue with each one of them and to have to see where it goes.
And it all kind of goes back, commissioners, and we just saw it on the UTV thing. Well, when other counties talk about why taxes are cheaper in their communities.
Yeah.
Because we do it.
I wonder why.
I would rather, this is my idea. I would rather use that particular amount of funding to reinvest services, programming, personnel, whatever it takes in our county, because we're paying for that.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. I'm not trying to gobble it up and do something else with it or make it disappear, but I'm gonna do it in Riley County.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, probably the more counties that we tell that to, and they'll put pressure on the state, maybe it'll help.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm not overly optimistic, but that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want these services, though. They want to do it. So, anyway.
This is the facility report that I show you every month. Right now, we are up one provider in both Riley County and Potawatomi County. We're down one in Geary for a full increase of one provider in the region. So we've kind of been seeing this either stay steady or on the increase, which is different from what we saw at the beginning of the year, for sure. Raising Riley has also been busy as usual, conducting a lot of assessments. In the month of May, they had 6 developmental assessments and provider visits, 3 class observations, and 5 parent meetings. Camp Kindergarten is officially underway. They have 42 children right now enrolled. They actually have more children enrolled this year that are receiving special ed services or that need additional support. So the Raising Riley facilitators have been helping the teachers. We have used 3 different teachers in there that are teaching for Camp Kindergarten, but we have more Raising Riley facilitators helping this year because of that. So that will end at the end of June. As far as professional development, Renee and Teresa attended a professional development training called Reigniting Your Professional Journey. This training was focused on learning new skills, habits, and daily practices to incorporate into your professional life and how to create an individualized plan using strategies to strengthen your professional growth. The team also conducted many outreach events, including their monthly Laundry Love with 8 adults and 6 children. They were also at the Flint Hills Festival events. They interacted with 128 adults and 143 children. And they were at Zubari Tales at the library in May with 40 adults and 52 children. WIC was also very busy. They certified 75 new infants, 64 pregnant women, and 163 children in May. I think that's the most that they've seen since the beginning of the year. Kaylin has met with local DCF office and they're collaborating with them to get the WIC application into the compliant enrollment. So they look forward to seeing how they can catch some families that way by automatically being eligible for WIC. Also, Kaylin and Kathy collaborated with the Manhattan Area Resettlement Team, or MART. They hosted a WIC clinic for the Afghan families on May 29th.
They were having a meeting this morning.
Oh,
I'm
really?
apparently on it. That's what that was. Mark. Okay.
Yeah. Acronyms, more acronyms. So they
Popped up on my Microsoft Teams. Okay, now that makes sense. Thank you.
Figure out what it is.
So that included obtaining measurements for over 20 clients, a nutrition education class on drinks and cup use, a few food demonstration, as well as they completed several appointments. So they'll continue that partnership every month. And Power Produce is taking place again this summer at the Farmers Market on Saturday mornings. Kathy, who's one of our WIC dietitians and part of the Food and Farm Council, is assisting along with many other volunteers. It's a chance for kids to learn about the importance of fruits and veggies, and they also get vouchers for free produce.
Speaking of the Food and Farm Council, is there any collaboration between you and them that would kind of help on the administrative side?
Well, we have Shanika attends the main meetings, and we have Kathy that attends one of their cat groups.
Well, I know they're looking to, try to, I don't want to say expand, but try to do some, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I know my brain's mush at the moment, but
I know Vicky's trying to step down a little bit.
Exactly, but trying to get that role on a more permanent basis kind of funded. I mean, is there some dollars out there and some collaboration with some groups that would allow that to happen that I guess it would have to necessarily be publicly funded?
Sure, yeah, we can definitely look into that more, yeah. Some kind of grant, but it's just a matter of sustaining it, we can process grants that are.
Well, I'm more of a communal approach allows that to happen instead of just one entity?
Yeah.
Because I know there's several collaborating agencies involved in that.
Yeah, there are for sure.
Am I making any sense? Because I don't feel like I'm making any sense there.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because they asked for $15,000 from the county and from the city for a staff person to take.
Right,
over the
and I
vacancy.
just, I think the mindset's gonna be that that's from both entities, that's just not really a priority in the grand scheme of things. And is there some way we can all work together to get them to that point outside of the scope, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, they do a lot of outreach and they're really a good program and Biggie's really developed it to be
Yeah.
right.
really a good program to really help people, so. You know, hate to see it retire and
Yeah.
not have the administrative part that they need.
The thing there is she does a role of about 4 people and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to pay 4 people
Yeah.
to do one role, so that's the thing to take into consideration, so yeah, okay. I was just throwing that out there, sorry.
No, you're fine. Very important council, and yeah, I want to keep it going, but she's done a lot of work to keep that up. Yeah. MCH held all of their Becoming a Mom classes on Thursdays in May with a total of 102 participants. They had 2 Spanish classes with a total of 14 participants. A total of 17 new client enrollments were completed in May. That's a 17% increase in May enrollments from last year. They held their yoga classes throughout the month of May. They had 24 participants.
Yoga?
Yeah, that's a perinatal yoga class as part of that community collaborative, project. So that's been going on for a little while, and they have yoga every Wednesday night. So it's free, so that's one. And then we had our KSU student therapists will be done in June. We usually have a turnover in June, and we have 3 new ones coming on in July. That's a partnership with K-State. So they're student therapists that offer free services to our clients at the health department. One of the 3 is Spanish speaking, so they'll be able to offer some bilingual navigation for our clients coming in. And that's been a great partnership as well. And then I'm happy to announce, we hosted our 3rd annual community baby shower at the zoo this last weekend. We had 164 families attend, but over 350 total participants. We had some of the zoo staff say that it was busier on this day than it was for their Wine in the Wild, but it was just that previous weekend. So we were excited for that. We gave away 130 pack and plays. And these are some pictures from the day. We got some great feedback from the participants. So I'll have more to come on that. They have to take a pre and a post test after their educational series on safe sleep practices for their baby. So we can gain a lot of information from those pre and post tests as well. It's a very successful event. A lot of fun.
Well, that's what happens when you advertise for it the way you do that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I think I counted, I don't know, about a half a dozen yard signs in my neighborhood over there.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
including right across my neighbor.
And then Jenny's been very busy with her opioid prevention work in Riley County. She delivered 11 presentations in May to 111 people. Some of the places she attended included St. Francis Ministries, the Ogden Coffee Shop, and UFM here in Manhattan. She has 24 pending events for June, and she's had 23 partner interactions and trainings during the month of May. And then Andrea has also been very busy with DEC. That's our Drug Endangered Children of Kansas grant that we obtained, and she's part-time, doing a lot of work out in the community. She attended 6 webinars and trainings in May, met with 12 community partners, gave 3 presentations to a total of 48 people. Donated 25 empty backpacks to St. Francis Ministries in May. These backpacks will be provided to kids who are taken out of their homes and do not have anything to put their belongings in. They'll also be provided to what they call bouncing kids who are having trouble staying in a permanent residence. We also purchased basic hygiene items to make care bags for the drug endangered children. These bags will be donated to St. Francis Ministries primarily, since the majority of their cases are drug endangered children. And they expect a big increase in cases in summer, which they usually do. Andrea is currently coordinating a training or presentation with RCPD, with the help of RCPD, for St. Francis Ministries staff on current drug trends and how some drugs look. And she's also currently discussing a possible training or event with Pawnee Health on behavioral cues parents might show under the influence. This event is targeted for in-home service providers such as toddler services. So lots of coordination going on and different events coming up. And then I do have a staff update. So we're happy to announce that Abby Barr Donnelly, she's our new registered dietitian for WIC. She started this past Monday. So I know the WIC staff's very happy to have her on board. She'll be out at Irwin Army Hospital 3 days a week and here in our county 2 days a week. We do have an open position. As of July 19th, Terry Stewart is retiring. We hate to see her go, but we want to get this position filled quickly. So that's our APRN position. We have 6 applicants so far, and we've already set up interviews for the end of June. And then I asked Jacob to come in and talk about a quality improvement project, and I do have some handouts for you. So we have a QI team that Shanika administers, and so we have a representative from each program on this QI team. It's something that we started before we became accredited, and they meet quarterly, I think, right now. Each program is required to have at least one QI project, and the clinic just wrapped up theirs on their walk-in clinic. So I'm going to let Jacob explain to you how that works.
I think this was actually a few projects ago, just given the timing of the pandemic, abstracting data is pretty laughable when it comes to trying to pull data from the clinic. For us, the issue is pretty clear that when our walk-in policy was instituted in March 1st of 2022, we were looking at roughly a 57.2% captive appointment rate, which is terribly even by pandemic standards. Clearly something had to change. You can see here during the pandemic that there was some shifting in our rates and the proportionality of no-show and cancellations, but clearly we needed to make a pretty significant change. For us, the clear answer was walk-ins. We have way too many patients who are having issues just accessing care. Just as we know, there's always barriers to care that often present pretty suddenly. So walk-ins really seem like a pretty intuitive way to keep staff busy, so not be wasting taxpayers' dollars funding appointments that weren't being kept, and instead trying to keep staff busy and the county cared for. Just looking at the baseline from 2019 to 2022, 2019 to 2020, I think it's probably our best data set to compare against, which is why if you look here, we're looking at significance of comparing to this baseline. We saw roughly an improvement about 13% in captive appointment rates, which for us is a pretty significant shift. Most markedly is cancellations really held about the same. It was our no-shows that were able to reduce significantly about 3 pockets. It's something that we plan to continue. It does make staffing a little bit more challenging as it's more difficult to predict day-to-day with what we're going to see. But at least for us, it really has made a lot of sense. And I think it's been a good service to the community. Do you have any questions over these numbers?
Still quite a bit of difference between kept appointments there with 22 and 23 and 23 and 24.
So in the discussion in the pamphlet you were handed, I would actually have a bit of a caveat there. Just due to poor poor categorization of data from that time.
Oh, okay.
They were just instituting the new EMR about that time. And they had some issues with with properly labeling appointments. I had to go through and do some abstracting and sampling. The proportionality of types of appointments are the same, so they are comparable. So I wouldn't compare the absolute rates, or the absolute counts rather. I would compare the proportionality of the rates.
Well, everything else seems to be kind of in check, and then that one's like way off.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And part of that was just them getting acclimated to EMR as much as
Okay.
good eye.
Other than that, I don't have anything else.
That concludes my time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioners, you have Brittany up at 10:30.
Move to recess as the Board of Health and reconvene as Board of County Commissioners.
I would second that.
Then moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
And then we got Brittany or Bethany or whatever dumb name comes up in my head at 10:30. Sorry for that, by the way.
Oh, it's okay. I've been called worse.
I'm actually dying to know, what year is the Roadmaster?
Oh my gosh, I asked my husband this.
Good. Roadmaster.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
I know. I think it's like 30 years old, I think.
Oh, yeah.
30. So,
If you knew how many hours I've spent, like back when I still felt like I could get away with it, I was truly a confirmed bachelor. Looking for a decent shape Buick Roadmaster, they're hard to find.
they are hard to find. And my husband would probably say he spent the same amount of time as you did, however, he was not a bachelor. He was almost a bachelor.
I want to be your husband though, because anybody that's looking online and pulls the trigger on a Buick Roadmaster, that's a guy I'd like to hang out with.
Oh.
There you go.
Get this, Brian, you can't argue with this. She's filed to be Chapman City Council person, so she's running for an elected office. Could you imagine that thing painted her favorite color, which is aqua blue with vote Brittany?
Yes.
Who would not remember that?
No one would. You could even get it wrapped, right? It would be
Kind of is with that forward pen.
Yeah, I did. Oh,
Mhm.
It's a bit of wrap.
the faux wood paneling. I had that in my mind. These are great thoughts, guys.
They are not.
She'd be a shoo-in.
Yeah, she would be. You would be a shoe in.
to agree with that part of it. I mean, the other thing else about the car, I'm with you, but it would be memorable.
See?
It would be memorable, but
It'd be a heck of a campaign.
You-
Not that much work.
Everybody would remember you. And when you're driving around, you wouldn't feel any bumps. Like that's the whole point of that car, is that you can't feel anything.
Smooth riding.
Ryan, just come on over, drive it around.
Oh, we're back on the station.
Bring the checkbook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bring your checkbook. Your fiance and I will talk.
Huh?
It'll be fine. I'll provide her emotional support. I've been there to get it.
You know, I have some Polaroid pictures at home of the station wagon, Oldsmobile.
Oh,
The lights with the wood grain.
Oh,
Or was it a Lego?
I don't know.
I found Brittany a
I
Lego
love
set. It's
those.
literally the.
Just-
Oh, really?
Console station wagon.
No,
you just
She
couldn't.
didn't want
it
to.
was big, it was roomy.
Yep.
It had a cigarette lighter.
Did it have the
Years
seats?
ago.
Did it have the third row?
Yeah, I-
Sure did.
I just saw it and I thought, I couldn't think of anybody besides Brittany.
It had the back window that you could roll completely down to.
Really?
Oh,
He has
yeah.
enough room. You could have 2 more kids.
Yeah, we need.
I am not having
How's the puppy, by the way?
We need population, so we're trusting you to take care of that.
I'm not your girl.
Man.
Hopefully John farms that out to her videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too late for me.
It's not too late.
Yeah, it's too late. I'm not gonna,
Only because you choose.
All kinds of great advice here, and she's not taking any of it.
I know. That's this generation, you know?
Never listening to their elders.
Nothing to do with the generation.
Coming from the older generation there. And somebody from that school to the north.
See that look there you're getting over those glasses?
I don't see it. It's kind of right there on that line there.
You feel it though.
You
No, I
include
don't.
her in the older generation.
Still
Like
nothing.
that.
Of course, I'm noticing everybody moving away from me
I know,
there, so I guess they're expecting lightning.
I feel it, and this is purely collateral fire, like this is, like
Oh, that reminds me, I've got a video I need you to watch. No, I think, no, I just,
I'm like, Siri is not Siri.
no.
okay, as
It's,
legal counsel, whenever anybody's asking HR to watch a video, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, right, like you don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
If it's that kind of video, you'll be involved as well, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just assume the absolute worst. Why?
Because that's the only time HR gets to watch a video. That's when they're like cameras and people's waiting.
No, I'm sure it's a great video.
No, it's a video that will make you feel good about where you're at. That's what I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
More of that, John.
Might have a station wagon in it too.
Do you want it? You want to come to my house? Well, I have a barbecue. I will feed you if you take that station wagon off. I mean, I can smoke some good food. If you take that station wagon off my.
What year is it?
94, I think.
It looks like it's in good shape.
It is in good shape.
What is it?
I'll show you.
That's
You
what
would
we
probably
picked up.
here.
I know.
It's 96.
That's- My first car was a 1981 Lincoln Continental Mark V.
Nice riding car.
It looks. Bought it at a
Wish
car
you
auction.
had that now.
Bought it at a car auction in Campbellsville, Kentucky. Oh, that's a Ford Taurus.
It's a Buick Roadmaster.
I think it's- You parked it in the shade. It's kind of hard to see.
Well, my husband parks it
Are you
there.
that worried
I'm not
about it?
touching it. It's in the garage. He moved it into the garage now. He did not put it out this past weekend like he was supposed to. Let me find it. He has better pictures where it's not in the shade.
So he's not really trying to sell it since he's hiding it in the
Yeah.
garage.
Yeah, I was like, we're moving that out?
Accidentally have a for sale sign on it.
He accidentally.
Yeah, I was like, you're moving that out into the street, right?
That's a pretty color. How much do you want for it?
5,000.
Okay.
There you go, John.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
We need Brian
You're
to come
actually
by.
going to sell it?
Oh, I'm happy.
I know you want to, but.
Yeah, yeah.
She'd
he
give
wants
it
to
away.
sell it.
He wants to sell it.
Yeah.
$2,000 in cash.
How much?
That's $2,000 in
Yeah.
cash.
No.
See, she doesn't really want to sell it.
She guess not.
I'm not making
Yeah.
that deal because I know I'd end up on the couch. I know the work that we put into that.
Yeah.
Holidays are fun at your house.
They are fun.
Another point, you can put a Christmas tree on that and not stick out the front or the back because it's long enough. It's a perfect family vehicle.
It's good for hauling all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I will say we do take it out to look at Christmas lights. The kids like to sit in the third row looking out the window.
See?
And you're taking that away.
Those are going to be fond memories that they will have for the rest of their life and pass on to their children, your
You
grandchildren.
think I'm passing that car on to my kids
Yeah, that's what you do.
for a teenager's first car?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what you
That
do.
That's
car,
what you do.
a teenage, I had two boys,
Be
teenage boys.
safe in it.
Safety first. Safety always.
I don't even want to give my boys.
Probably clutch hit it, I bet you.
No, it's an automatic,
They
I'm
might-
sure.
Have to learn a little bit of
Station wagon.
resiliency and a few other things, but hey, you know.
Our kids started having this, we got, was another pickup. It's didn't matter what they did to us,
Mhm.
Yeah.
especially because high school parking lots get things. Because
Yeah.
we can try. I think the
Same thing with college parking lots, too, for that matter.
How
Second,
about Dylan's, yeah?
second daughter drove to school. She screams at me.
Oh.
But the other car was just like hers. It didn't, you know, nothing.
You come over this weekend and you pick up the vehicle. I'll talk to Lauren, she can play with our puppy
Oh, gosh, yeah, they would
and my baby. I mean, well, he's not a baby, but he's cute, he'll act like a baby.
small children and puppies, like,
Yeah, see,
yeah,
I'll walk her through.
I gotta make sure she's not watching this because I might be done.
Well, if you're not back on Monday, I guess we'll know why.
That's right. I'm driving around in that new to me but old Roadmaster, smiling, enjoying every minute of it.
Well, whatever you do, don't start at 2,000 because that's where I started the bid at.
Well, there you go.
And on that note,
Good morning, commissioners, Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer, here to present the monthly cash flows. So we'll start with economic development. So in May, we spent $1,899, bringing our total expenditures to $88,336, bringing our ending unencumbered cash balance to $358,849. Of course, here's a list of projects and the departments that they're with. Of course, most of these for economic development are appropriations. And other, the 1895 was for the comprehensive plan update. So
the Kanza Water Project, I'm confused on that one. It was in the budget work session list there too. When does that end?
I'd have to go back in the
It's
list.
fairly soon.
Yeah, it's,
Next couple of years,
Yeah.
maybe this might be the last year. It's very soon.
Thought I saw maybe 2028.
yeah, I think it's 2028.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fairly soon.
Doesn't seem soon to me. Okay, fair enough.
Was that a 40-year thing?
Must have been 30.
30.
So
Yeah, we bought that system out while I was here.
was that a wastewater system or what?
Private water system, privately owned, was not managed. County had to bail the community out.
And so this would have been like a loan that we took out?
Yep,
correct?
loan we
Okay.
took out. Mhm.
But it's not.
It wasn't to necessarily purchase it, but to rehab it. It was in such bad shape. It was failures.
But it wasn't, it's not a, what do we call it? It's not like University Park, the place where the residents are paying for it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a benefit district.
Benefit.
Mhm. It's a benefit district. It is.
So,
It's not an improvement district like University Park, but it is its own benefit district where the residents are paying for it.
I mean, we get paid.
Through special assessment.
Special assessment.
Right. It's on our books as debt, but they are the ones providing the funding.
Because the other ones usually that's under them more.
No, it's always under us. University Park, Keats, all the debt will be under us.
It's just like all the, city debt, bonded debt and all that. It all falls under us. That's why we can't get a AAA credit rating.
The only time ad valorem taxes are involved, of course, if there's delinquency on those special assessments to make up the difference. And that's why we get the cheaper interest rate for those than others can be, because they know they're backed by us to get the funding.
They get paid, but
The auto lane development, that one is coming off this
Yes,
year,
this
correct?
is the last
Okay,
year.
that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm done with that page. Sorry.
Okay. County building cash flows, we received $117,721 in revenue and spent $23,468, bringing our total unencumbered cash to $305,878. Any questions on county building? Okay. CIP. We brought in $865 in revenue in May, and we spent $655,386, bringing our unencumbered cash balance to $17,352,381. Of course, we always keep this list of reserve funds, so our CIP reserve, Bay Reserve, FFB, hardware refresh, and then our CARES money.
Okay. Oh, that, you already put it on there. It's next year for the hardware refresh.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be the actual total?
No, I have it listed, let me.
So I was thinking it was in the neighborhood of like 880,000 or something.
The total is supposed to be $1,182,224. So this is the money that we put aside each year. We are still reviewing the contract though, because we're in different spots. It says that we do have to pay for it, and in another spot it says we do not. So we're really trying to get through.
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. We also had that where you could refinance it, although that's way out of the question, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a game changer. I'm not so sure that we owe it.
Okay. Ooh.
Contract's a little
I'm
complicated.
sure that'll be one Bryant will be getting familiar with, but
Lucky you.
Oh, I'm excited.
and I believe KCOM believes the same thing.
Oh, good. We're good to have a backup on that. Okay.
Yeah, I think we have that.
And then the CARES funds, what's
Yeah,
that?
that too.
So the CARES is what we have for the North County EMS and EMS headquarters. So that's after we use ARPA. So if we end up using all of ARPA, we still have this CARES funds.
That was the remaining CARES. Remember, we did a transfer last year and we put it in CIP to use for any shortfall we might have for the EMS ambulance. So that's what that's set aside for. But of course, if we don't need it for that, then you can use it for whatever
Let's go over to
else.
see, it'll go to CIP.
Yeah.
But that's actual funds that we need to use though, right?
Is there?
Before the end of this.
Well, no, no. It's passed. We can use that for whatever.
Oh, that's not like the ARPA. That didn't have, that's.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering if there's.
But that is the last of the money that we got in August or whatever.
There is not the 2026
Right,
deadline on
that's
that
fine.
funding.
Okay, so that, if we don't need it, there's other ones that let's go back to this regular CIP.
Used for facilities.
That was my thought.
Yeah.
I have a thought maybe on that. We'll talk about it at the end of the meeting.
Okay, any other questions on CIP? I haven't listed the ones, obviously you just signed this morning yet.
Why not? You knew that were coming.
Yeah.
Man.
Like signatures. Half-cent sales tax, of course, we haven't brought in any more revenue for this, but we did spend $196,362. Bringing our unencumbered cash balance to $6,133,568.
Okay. Well, what is the total amount that we have left over out of that? At that 3.9?
Yes, so after all our projects, we'll have.
So the projects that we still have listed there, that would be the leftover amount after that approximately. I know there's some give or take in there. Yeah. Okay, it's good to know.
So is the Road and Bridge Committee, are they looking at what to spend that on? Or somebody working on
They will be.
finding what
correct.
projects
Yeah.
is going? What will we do with that?
That was my question too.
Next is the 0.2% sales tax. In May, we received $216,822. We have no expenditures at this time, so our ending unencumbered cash balance is $3,226,705. And of course, we don't have any projects listed at this time either, so. Any more questions on any of the reports? Okay, thank you, commissioners.
Next, commissioners, you have Elizabeth Ward at 1040. Did you guys see on the news this morning about Rita Klein, the old Shawnee County treasurer?
No.
Crushed by a UTV, loading,
What?
died.
Oh, wow.
Or what?
They were loading a UTV on a trailer, her and a friend, and
Got away and landed on.
ended up on her and
Oh,
passed away.
It's a UTV.
Oh,
You know, four-wheeler.
Actually,
No, the four wheelers, just like.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Hot
okay.
tomorrow. Off-road
terrible.
vehicles.
Yeah.
Yep,
she'd been there for a long, long time, hadn't she?
Oh, she had been there, of course, she's retired, she had been there 14 years, I thought
Okay,
it
that's-
was longer, but she'd been there 14.
I didn't read something, since she had run for city
Uh-huh.
commissioner and county commissioner.
I remember her tenure and she was rather colorful, that's for sure.
That's what the headline.
She was always in the news,
Said colorful.
she was always in the news.
Oh.
Campaign was first run, but basically the complaining about the line says no lines and vote lines.
Sitting in the conversation, this looks kind of light.
Did that happen?
She said it did. She
That's a good
said-
Remember, that was the
think you're
intent,
right.
part of the intent of going through this process,
Right.
picking that up.
Just point me to the section like shoes.
It's in the other one.
Oh.
I've been thinking about that a lot, actually.
Don't lose any sleep over it.
And it's just interesting. I mean, I think those conversations are frustrating, but it's also things that like employees and supervisors talk about and deal with every day. And so, yeah, it's so minor and yet it's like so daily and part of everything that has ever this, like that. It's just integral.
Think about that text that I sent you
I know.
on interviews.
On interviews, yeah, we've actually been discussing
It
that
just
a lot.
blows me away. It just blows me away.
I did some interview training with one of the departments this week and it's difficult. And we were talking, I sent out an email about the
Yeah.
20 red flags that are non-negotiable. And people, you gotta make your own, right, for the right job, but just the eye contact. I mean, I suppose if you were like a comptroller that worked only in the back and didn't have any internal or external clients besides sending them PowerPoints, maybe you don't have to make eye contact. But there's very few of our positions that function like that. You have customers. And then we were talking about the treasurer. We interviewed somebody last year that we really all liked and thought had the potential. So could not look like above this, like the whole interview. And it was really difficult. And that's funny because the supervisor brought it up. She said, remember that person, because she struggled with it. Saying that he's got all the skills and he's got all the ability, but apparently doesn't have the confidence or had never had the practice of eye contact. I don't know.
On that note.
Yeah, well, so commissioners, Elizabeth Ward, Riley County Human Resources Director, and I'm here hopefully to present the final version of the procedures manual. So we did already, just for a recap, we approved the policy manual that's been effective since April 25th. And then we revised a couple of the procedures. And just for your reference, I did give you a hard copy, a bound copy of the proposed procedures manual. And the two policies the two procedures that we revised are on page 3, which is the new and expanded positions. And starting at the bottom of page 7 is the hybrid remote work eligibility. So you can see in there, I think the only thing we changed in the hybrid work, we changed the child care to just caregiving was the main change there. And then we also added the statement that Riley County is not a remote work employer at the very first statement. Does not support permanent remote work without express approval from the spelling error Board of County Commissioners. And then the new and expanded, that is how I interpreted that you wanted it. I think we didn't add anything else. That was approved as presented last time. So those are there if you want to quick glance at them. Otherwise, nothing else is new or edited in this presentation.
Good to me.
Once approved, we will get some hard copies printed for department heads and supervisors. Some people do use a electronic version well, but some of us are old school and want to make the notes and highlight things in one pages. So.
Give me a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the As presented,
It's actually the resolution for it.
or the resolution, okay,
Yeah, it's a.
let me redo that.
Yeah, we have to do that. We did that part already. This.
Okay,
backs
that's
up
right.
Yeah,
By statute resolution.
yes.
Is that
Okay.
right?
Okay, I will change that motion.
By statute we're.
To make this
Yes.
official, we have to do
Yeah,
it by resolution.
yes, we need to do it by resolution. Yep,
Okay.
that's what I thought you were asking, but I wanted to.
Yep, it was.
I would make a motion that the board approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The board approved the resolution as presented for the employee procedures manual. All in favor? Aye.
All three signed, please.
And just in case you're interested, we have already started uploading the working document for corrections, additions, spelling errors, things like that, which so hopefully the process will go much more smoothly the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Oh, so you mean I get an opportunity to look through that and make additions of my own?
You have things that are not policy based, otherwise I would have another discussion.
You ruined it.
But no, I mean, we are like things that we know, as someone says, or just things as we maybe come back and they say, okay, well, that's not really clear, and we're still having a conversation, we make edits for. Sure. So maybe not have to back it from ground zero.
Sure, yeah, Mr. Ellerman at 10:50.
On the physical demands of this job. You read the physical demands of this job. You have to be able to climb or balance, stoop, kneel, crouch, or crawl, talk, or hear, or smell.
That counts me out.
Yeah.
One else going.
I wasn't gonna give it up either.
It's just kind of funny. Lift goal 50 pounds.
That part I can do.
My, my puppy weighs 50 pounds. I can't.
Can you lift your puppy?
Hmm?
Can you lift your puppy?
No. Well, I can lift
Thanks, that
him.
counts you out.
I can lift him, but not very far.
Probably starts to squirm. It's not
Yeah, he
dead.
does. Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Good morning, Commissioner. John Ellerman, Public Works. And I have two positions here I'm requesting to advertise for that bill. The first one is custodial worker one. This position does all your custodial work, as janitors, cleaning open areas. This one would be for the public workshop, transfer station and museum. It's one we've had the last year and a half, difficulty holding or keeping employees with. So
It's what I was gonna bring up. I know it's not this specific position, but just I don't know how many you have overall in the custodial one. Is it 3, 4?
All of our custodians are one, so is it 5?
six.
They've all been open at some particular point in time, have they not? Recent.
This one's been open more than.
So actually,
Yeah.
When I first got here, we had a couple open.
Yeah.
Those have been steady since.
Right.
This is the problem that I've had.
What's, I'm just trying to try, I'm not.
The first one transferred to another area.
Okay.
And then the other two we just had.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We moved to the park.
Okay.
And then these other two are just been bad picks or have difficulty then wanting to show up to work.
Are we looking at this right? I guess that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Well, so I don't think what I would add to the conversation isn't specific to the custodial position, but it would cover a lot of our entry level, and not just our nationwide entry level positions. We have, this position has to not only pass a drug and alcohol test, but it has to pass an extended background check. Drug and alcohol test is a problem. And there are a lot of employers who are actually no longer doing drug and alcohol tests. They're just leaving it off completely because they can't find enough employees that it pass. One consideration, we have had several in this position and not be able to be hired because of that. The second issue is because this position, custodial.
That's a good zero, but the background.
But, and then the background is not just a regular background check that all jobs have, but that because they have access to the courts, community corrections, and attorney's office, they have to have this enhanced background that is approved by KCJIS. So even if they had something as a juvenile, or it's been sealed, or they had diversion, or what have you, they generally don't pass that. So we have made, I think they call it a variance. So we've worked with everybody involved that would approve that and made some variances to hire people, but then we have limitations on where we can place them. So they can't ever fill in anywhere else, or they can't ever, so they could work this particular location, but they wouldn't be able to rotate if we had an emergency and we'd have to track down very carefully. So price wise, like as far as what we are paying, we are competitive. We are continue to hire and interview people from K-State, from USD 383.
We'd already had that conversation.
Yeah,
So I knew, that wasn't the issue, but I figured there's got to be some other issue because we can't seem to keep it filled. So, go ahead, Rich.
Question, you say lots are for green drug and alcohol. Lots in what locations in our area?
Yes, in our area.
Such as
I don't know about lots, but that is the new kind of movement, and I can't off the top of my head.
Okay, you just said lots are, so, and I want to be sure it's in this area.
Well, there are.
Because I know
in this
we
area.
read lots of national stuff and I don't.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, that's the trend where things are going. I'm not saying that that's what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying it's happening because of these kinds of situations. We would have to really think about that and research that.
I
before we
mean,
make that move.
Every time these positions open up, we spend a lot of resources trying to work to fill them just in general. And as they keep staying open, it's lost. So we got to wrap our heads around something in the equation. whatever that is.
Well, and there is a reality that these are high turnover jobs. I mean, entry level jobs.
Is it time to start thinking about contracting this type of work out?
For one position that stays open, no. If I had 3 or 4, then maybe we might want to have that conversation, but with one, I don't think so.
And also with security, subcontractor.
When contractors also regularly have people no show to work. I mean, it's not like that we would necessarily we'd have less control and potentially not clean anyhow. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying it's not something we shouldn't maybe discuss, but I think there's some real negatives and I'm not sure that they can do a better job staffing than we can.
Yeah, you have the same exact problems.
Yeah, I mean,
It's still the same level positions.
Yes, and truthfully, with our benefits and our pay,
Have you talked to all the companies that do that? Maybe they've found a way to work through that?
no, I have not. And I can definitely do that. I mean, I think that's a valuable suggestion.
Just
Look
saying,
at like,
turn over all the stones and make sure that, we're.
yeah, I mean, I have went back and looked and tried to really pay attention, to make sure there's any salary lines that are paying the work.
I'm not so concerned with that part of it,
I
but
know,
it's
but usually that's
logistics
the
of this.
And
It's,
we
staying
have
open
one-
pretty much all the time,
yeah, 1 of 7, but we have one
I
supervisor.
understand if you're filling those positions and they're moving on to other positions, but that's not completely the case here.
No, the last 2 people haven't moved. This job is actually, we did a study in this particular position has been open about 30% of the time in the last.
How many studies are we gonna do and resources are we gonna do to come back to the same point?
Yeah, and in this case, I would say John and these last two people that were in this position, John and his staff has done absolutely everything they can to save the employees. And they put a lot, they put effort in, but those employees were not going to be consistent workers. They weren't going to continue to be careful with that to be. Yeah.
It's kind of like those similar to some of our other entry level positions. When you find a good one, and I know the good one we had that transferred is they find out Riley County's a pretty good place to work and they get a better job opportunity. And that's what we were really.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same issue with entry level customer service in the treasurer's office as well. And that's part of the reason why you see so many of those. And so it kind of goes hand in hand. And so that's why I don't think it is a problem, but I don't know that you're ever going to rectify it because the good ones are looking to progress. And if they can't progress there, then they will somewhere else within the organization or elsewhere. And so it happens more so in this industry than others. And that's typical. K-State, City of Manhattan will tell you the same thing.
Yeah. And really, John, 6 of the 7 positions are stable. I mean, we just need to, I mean, that's stable for these level positions, entry-level positions.
Let's think about some other options along with this. I mean, I'm fine opening it up and seeing what we do, but let's be thinking about maybe some other options with it too. I mean, I'm fine on both. I mean, I'm fine with going ahead and opening both of them up, but let's be thinking outside the box on it too.
So
I'd move to approve the Public Works advertised to hire the open custodial worker 1 position.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to open the custodial 1 position. All in favor? Aye.
All 3 sign, please.
You can go ahead, John.
Okay. Yeah, second position this morning is facility tech. This is one of the lower level that we have our building maintenance personnel. This is the 1 of 2 people I have in that department. Does all the maintenance issue. Organizes the maintenance, so they keep track of stuff that happens with plumbing, electrical, lighting, HVAC. Some ground, not very much ground maintenance, but some, the buildings inside it. Definitely a position that I think without, we would struggle, to do what those duties that we do. Separating the service from the person that have been here about 7 years, I believe.
12.
So did he transfer or go to another job
He went somewhere else.
after 12 years? Great.
Happens. Okay.
Yeah. Do this one. I would make a motion to approve the Public Works Department advertised to hire the open facility technician one position.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Public Works Department advertised to hire the open facility technician one's position. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next commissioner, you have Brittany Phillips at 11. Or 11:01 or 11:02 when we start.
Thank you, Brittany, Bethany.
We just hear from.
Whatever.
Have you heard enough from her today? Is that what you're saying?
No, I saw, had a little break in there, I guess.
It's not 45 minutes today.
We don't have
Well,
That's-
We don't have to talk about
You can go
station
ahead.
wagon now.
I was gonna say, it's not discussing.
You go ahead.
Station wagons or what's.
Good morning, Commissioners. Budget and Finance Officer Brittany Phillips here to discuss, present our first 2025 budget work session. I've attached this memo, just giving you an overview, and we'll start looking at the budget development worksheet. It's hard to see up here. Rich, is it okay if I turn the plan?
Absolutely. These two closest to me work best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're just gonna really do a broad overview today, and of course, if you have any questions or wants to change anything, please let me know. And we'll be back on Monday and every Monday and Thursday until you tell me to stop coming back, so.
Stop coming back.
That didn't take long.
So first, all personnel costs here are for merit only. They don't reflect any new and expanded positions that have been requested, and we are going to bring those back at a later date. This $4 million transfer to capital improvement, originally when I presented my budgets, I had an $8.9 million transfer. After internal discussion, we wanted to bring that back to actually transfer in this budget year. So we will bring that back later, because we have enough cash.
Some will be in 24.
Yeah, so it'll be in 20.
If you do it for next year's, it just messes,
Yeah.
it confuses everyone
Oh,
for the
okay.
budget. So,
That was one
and
of my
and the
questions.
intent was originally to transfer it this
Okay.
year into CIP from general.
So apologize for that. But just so you know, that's that difference there. And then when we came to that $4 million transfer, that's to cover future CIP projects that we currently have on the non-funded CIP list. So we have that non-funded CIP list out to 2027. And so right now that just covers the what we have for 2025, our debt requirements that we have budgeted in CIP for our like hardware refresh, and we have a bond payment in there as well. So that is all listed in there in that total, and that gives you a little over $1 million. And I have it listed in my memo. It's leaving a remainder of $1,031,826 after these debt obligations, and then the $2 million for the 2025 non-funded requests. The next biggest item is COLA. And we've talked about this already before, is that it is the 3.8% CPIU from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so this amount includes benefits as well. So this would be the overall impact for 2025. Elizabeth and I have spent a lot of work, a lot of time on this, reviewing the numbers, making sure everything's accurate. So that is on there. Overall, we wanted to also point out that there is a 0.64% decrease overall in the 3 Cs. So you see a lot of these larger percentages, specifically like this negative 30.15%, which is elections. But that all averages out to a decrease overall of the 3 Cs. We have all of our appropriations listed that you have heard be requested at this point. I highlighted extension since we've already approved that one. That way we're all just tracking that. And since that wasn't an increase. Next we have our other mill levy funds. So we have bond and interest, county building, and RCPD. The RCPD one is still pending because they have the law board meeting on Monday.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. I did pull the number from what they had approved for they had several budget items listed out. So I pulled that from their approved one that they're going to talk about on Monday. Any questions on the expenditures page?
None is listed at the moment.
I have questions on appropriations, because some of those were listed. And they aren't all on there, but some of them are on this economic development sheet.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I assume for budgeting purposes of need to be stored in different places. But can we get one of just appropriations? Break out from this, because is extension an
The
appropriation?
sheet that we talked about, yeah, and extension's on there.
I know, but that isn't appropriation. I mean, that's something we have to pay, isn't it? I mean,
It is an appropriation. It's an appropriation, just like we do an appropriation to community corrections to make up the difference.
Well, that's the two I was,
Mhm.
those two in the small cities is an appropriation, that the sales tax that we're paying.
Yes.
That
So that's
is
not
not through ad valorem tax, though. That's through sales tax.
Well, but I'm just saying, those three aren't necessarily optional. The others are, which ones are optional and which ones aren't. That's what and I know there is some degree on extension and community corrections, but there isn't. I don't think of those as appropriations. What I was looking at, and I'd said it before, I thought we needed to get set up in a pattern of this is how much we have for appropriations, instead of trying to look at every line each year, have some kind of a set budget, say we're going to do 1 mil for appropriations. But if we did that, I wouldn't include corrections and extension in small cities.
Or if you wanted to, if it helps you, I mean, we could separate that in 2 different types of appropriations, but all 3 of those, RCPD, community corrections, and extension, are appropriations. They're not mill levy.
Right, they're appropriation, but
we could set them, write them out in a separate group.
Because also then we've got, what is it, Flint Hills Veterans, Chamber of Commerce, Downtown, and MPO.
Mhm.
Those are really appropriations too. And I understand if we have to fund them through different, like I say, even if it isn't on here, can we get a separate sheet of just those so we can look?
You have
Also-
that, correct? That's the sheet
Also
showing
see
me
what
the other
they're-
day, yesterday. Yeah.
Also see what they have been over the last few years to see which are.
Yep, she already has that. We'll get that to you for Monday.
No,
If you put it in Monday's packet, Brittany.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, she has that separated out.
I will put that in the packet on Monday. It's a long spreadsheet, so
Okay,
this is what it kind of looks like, just so you know.
well, like I say, just having them all in one spot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so the next sheet is our revenues. And the first thing I want to point out is the investment income reduction that we are projecting for 2025. And the reason we are reducing it is because next year, with this year being an election year, interest rates are so uncertain for next year. And so we thought that maybe this was appropriate, but by all means, I mean, that's ultimately up to the board, but just so you know, that is how we came to that conclusion.
But the Fed just said they're not changing the rates.
That's what I've heard too.
And might not, but possibly once even this year.
They're actually going up right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then the unencumbered cash balance for general fund is projected at 11,540,000. And so this is reflective of the $8.9 million transfer for if we were to do it in this budget year.
Let's take it out.
Oh, okay. That's another question I had.
Yeah. Okay. That's 19 before.
Correct. Yeah. It just, I'm sure you might have a question about this $10 million coming into 2024. That's what's actually listed on our budget, like our state budget worksheet. And so that's what I entered here. 2025 RCTE unencumbered cash. There's a huge difference from 24 to 25. And the reason is because inmate medical costs are just going up a lot. And with everything that is happening with inmate medical, and then we're trying to adjust the ACH contract, with those costs are going up. We feel this is an accurate representation of what that is going to look like going into 2025.
Twofold, the cost of medical costs and just flat the number of inmates that we have.
Yeah. Okay, so with all of this information here, this is an overage of our revenue neutral rate of 1.966 mils. However, it is only a difference of 0.363 from last year. So it's just with all of that entered from 2020 for our 2024 year to 2025 projected, it's an increase of 0.63.
I do not remember in a long time where our starting point was that close to the previous year's mill levy. At a not overly inflated valuation increase. That's significant. And that shows you, I mean, honestly, the work that those department heads did in doing their budgets, that's amazing being that close with only less than a 4% valuation increase.
Yeah, because I was looking at what it amounts to get to that same mill levy. It was only 300,000. We need to find.
But it's all the appropriations, everything's in there.
Everything's in there.
Because there are a couple of the outside appropriations that were 100% increase,
Yeah, I do.
125% increase, which could help the overage.
No, I don't.
And understand.
Yeah.
I think we will get under, that's what I'm saying. It looks like we should be able to get under. But that's why I want to see all those appropriations separate from this thing, separate from all of it.
Easier to follow.
Yeah.
Easier to look at.
Because like I say, they're not even all on the same sheet right now.
Yeah, we have a sheet with that. So it's significant, commissioners, this starting point. And I mean, anyone say what they want, but that is significant with not an extraordinary valuation increase for this year.
I have listed in my memo, but I want to point it out here too. The value of 1 mil is $827,863. So, and you also have the value of the mill as of 2024, or the budgeted value of the mill. Are there any questions? Is there anything else you would like me to bring back on Monday when I present? I'm going to bring back this agency appropriation request and history.
Yeah, I've got some stuff here.
Okay.
I didn't see anything on the budget stabilization.
That is in the general services line.
I thought it's a separate line item.
No, it's always a general services budget.
Okay. So that's 250,000 included in there.
He's asking what you increased it by.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
250,000, which is per our policy annually is.
Where of that, I just didn't know where in this.
Sorry, no, that's a good thing that, we should have had listed.
Just something to keep
I didn't
in
even
mind.
think of that.
Yeah.
And we have discussed an appropriation for the animal shelter. That may not be.
The animal shelter, it starts off, and just so that everybody's aware, it starts off from This year, when we execute, which presumably if the
But
commission.
that's coming out of this year's budget, so let's talk
Yeah,
25.
yeah, for 25. 25 starts off for the first 2 months at 5,000 a month. And then we take a look as of probably based off of this year's numbers through the end of the year. And we renegotiate with them to see what a more equitable amount would be. I'm not saying this 5,000 a month isn't equitable. We're throwing darts in the blind. Right? So we're gonna know more after the first 6 months. And that contract says they have to, within not just a year-end number, right? They also, upon reasonable request, they have to give us reports. So I've already kind of prepped them that, hey, we're gonna want numbers about what animals are coming from unincorporated Riley County. So, yeah, hope that helps.
Well, needs to help her.
Yeah.
So do we have a number?
I was naturally thinking it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 61.5 at some point, including the 5,000 and then whatever the adjustment is, but that's my math. That doesn't mean it's good math.
So 10,000 basically is coming out of 24.
Yeah, so, well,
Yeah.
what,
Actually,
actually, it'll just be, if I'm
it's gonna be closer to probably 25-30,000 is what I was thinking.
5,000 a month and we haven't started it.
Oh, 25,000 total, Commissioner.
Oh.
It'll start, actually, it'll be a little over 30 because it starts, if we pass it at the next governing body meeting, then it would be the prorated amount of 5,000 a month for June. And then 5,000 from July each. And from a prudent budgeting standpoint, since we are literally throwing darts at this point, if all else fails, I would see that a default position could be that we at least plan on the 60,000, the full 60,000 for next year, right? And then we would see if that's a prudent expenditure. So if you wanted to put 60,000 in for that line item, that would make sense. And we'll know more if that's appropriate after we get this year's 6 months worth of numbers.
Okay.
That's practical. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just to confirm, you want me to add in $60,000 to the animal shelter for the 2025 appropriation?
The consensus, commissioners?
Yeah. So, these are both my questions there. Okay. So I just spitballing some things on appropriations here. Don't mind your consideration there too. That would actually make some things a little bit easier. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna fund any of those at a rate of 100% or more.
No.
There's no way I'm gonna fund those at a 40% rate or more. But I will tell you, a lot of I'll take Pawnee, for instance. I think in 19, we increased that to that 300,000 total. We increased it by 25,000 that year, if I remember correctly. It had been 3 years before it had gone up at that particular point in time. So it's been a while. I'm just pointing that out. So, I can understand their frustration when I look at the bigger picture on that. But I also know that we're not statutorily obligated to do any of it.
Yeah.
Just to keep in mind, we do that because it's a community service.
That's why I want a separate list.
Yeah.
Just look at those.
I was just looking at some, not the ones that are just kind of basically flat at this point in time, but I thought, let me make sure I've got my totals right here, but we'd be fine with the small appropriation increase to Big Lakes. Of course, we already talked about the animal shelter. Council on Aging there. I think I put down here splitting that difference, and basically that would be a 26,500 increase for them. ATA would be basically a split of 22.5 there. Keeping the small city the same at 190. Adding 125 to Pawnee. Misai adding 7,000 and maybe just adding 750 to the Genealogical Society. If my math was correct, the savings on that would be 248,481. I listed the appropriation for the animal shelter at 61.5, so total savings of that minus or adding that would be 186,981, but you would have to add back the $1,500 if you were doing that at 6,000. My brain ain't gonna work anymore, so I'm not gonna try to figure that one out from there, so. I'm still of the thought that we're close enough. I mean, some point in time, we really try to need to get down to that revenue neutral rate at some point in time. We really do. We've expanded out, the last couple of years to try to deal with the expansions for personnel. I think we've done a good job of that. I don't want to really fool with the numbers and try to get down to a 3% or anything there, because we're just going to chase our tails on that, and we'll have to eat that difference at some point in time. I want to stay consistent with that. I'm going to say no on the new and expanded positions, because that's going to add 20% to that total on top of that. Just need to take care of what we have at this particular point in time instead of adding. Outside of that, I don't know. We've got a couple other budget sessions to try to figure out where we're at, so we don't have to figure it all out in one day, but.
Well, the new and expanded positions, they were carefully thought out, and they weren't like across the board. They were a couple, 3 or 4 specific ones. So, I mean, and they had really good reasoning for having those positions there in critical areas. So
I'm looking at the total addition to what that does to the total personnel.
Then we need to look at appropriations, because, that's a big number. We need to look at it a little bit more carefully.
I think I see and just say, I was trying to, didn't quite get it. It was like 1.25 mils is what we've been, and set something and just say, okay, we're going to do this every year. And then, because that way it will increase a little bit each year, but, and then just, the only decision we have to divide that, but instead of, we can almost start from scratch each year. It feels like on appropriations.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's like we don't really start
Some kind of a guideline, I guess, forward.
And I don't know if we'll ever be able to reach that revenue neutral rate, because that whole thing is really strange.
Well, I don't think you can do it year in and year out, but I think and the point is if you do that year in, year out, you bring a cap down on top of yourself on a 2 to 4 year period, and that's pretty dangerous. But my point is this, and people I talk to, community members I talk to, it's a double hit for them. And even at the revenue neutral rate with the 4% increase, it's still a tax increase for everybody at that percent. I mean, you have to reduce that from that point, almost 4%, to actually get it equal. So it's still a tax increase for everybody, but it's fair considering the price of services and inflation that we have to deal with too, without having to really, really make a rapid reduction in services. Boy, that hit really hard there.
Well,
that's a balance. That's a balance.
Provide really good services for our constituents.
Well, we need to look at our services and prioritize them. Some of those maybe we don't need to do anymore, but the services we do provide, I agree with you.
Yeah, we've got to take care of them. People.
I feel in some places we might be doing more than we need to do, and we can eliminate some of them, such as what Rich was talking about earlier. Licensing. Something. Those type of things. Yeah. We can streamline some of those things.
Okay, so first on the agency history, how many years back do you want me to go? Because right now I have it from 21 through 24. Is that enough, or would you like? Yes, I'm sorry.
No,
I'd go back like 5 years. That's what I had my hand up for, is okay to go back like 5 years, because Commissioner Ford's right. There's some that haven't been raised for a long time.
Go back to 18. Okay.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah, give us a couple years before that.
Because there are some that have been asking, like Council on Aging, I'm thinking, and some others, that haven't gotten an increase in a long time, and we're a big portion of their funding, and understand what you're saying, but you guys have to decide what's an important service for our community and what's not, but their costs are increasing too.
Like their Council on Aging, I was looking, the ones like all the small communities that have those senior meals. I'd like to fund those things, I don't know what percent, I haven't looked at the numbers. To see, I should be funding those because they are, there's a lot of people.
Well, I would tell you, over the last year and a half, it is a lot more seniors that I'm hearing from too, and they don't have any room to move in this equation. So as they're getting taxed more, and a lot of them have been taxed pretty hard through property tax, they have no way to make up the difference. So they're really taking a hit. I don't have easy solutions to that, obviously, but nobody does. But 6% from one entity, 6% from another entity adds up pretty fast. And I saw a tax bill from, I'm not going to name the individual, but it went up $350 over the last 2 years total. That's pretty significant in the greater scheme of things. So, and they didn't do anything significant to their house or property. It was just as is.
The question is always though, commissioners, and you guys understand it, is what would they list it for to sell it?
Yeah.
And is the valuation appropriate? And I can tell you that the majority of them, I watch real estate regularly. The county appraisal is less than what we'll list our properties for, myself included. And so I understand that, but no one ever says, well, I'll pay you for all the years it was undervalued, the additional amount. And so I understand that, but all of our,
Rich.
I have, I get enough tax bills. I know what the valuations do to
I
tax.
understand that, but in order to get the value back out of it, then you're telling them they have to sell their house.
That's how the state devised our system for taxation.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with it, but still.
But the house is still getting fire protection, road.
I understand there's a balance to that, and I mentioned that. There's a balance.
You may not agree with it, but that's a legal system we have to follow.
We didn't set that up, the tax system, but that's the way, that's when we start charging every time we go to somebody's house, every time the cops come to your house, you get a bill.
Well, maybe that's a fairer approach, pay by service.
It'd be more probably than what we're looking at. If you do that, and everybody that gets in that situation, myself will be there someday. You have to make decisions. Maybe it's time to sell and take that money and go live somewhere else, or living in assisted living, or what, downsize. So, I mean, everybody's going to do stuff, but services are important.
Okay, so Commissioner Ford threw out some numbers on suggested changes.
This is just the beginning. Today really wasn't for you guys to force you to make decisions. Today it's the first blush. I think it's good for the other commissioners to know where Commissioner Ford sits, and then you can look at the appropriations and decide. But we did not expect to solve a budget equation.
No. And this was just me thinking out loud. I'm not even saying that's not what I necessarily want to do. And I have some other thoughts here, and I'm just going to leave them there as secondary thoughts as we move through the process. I've been through this enough to know we're going to have way more. And one of the things with the revenue neutral process is it's expanded. We don't have to have it all figured out in 3 weeks. We've got an extra month to try to talk and discuss things. So it doesn't have to be figured out today.
Well, it's important to have the discussions among us. It really is. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I will bring the agency appropriation request back on Monday, starting at 2018, going through 2024. Is there anything else you would like me to bring back? I'll add in the $60,000 for our animal shelter on the sheet as well.
I do want to make clear that I would like to see us get to that revenue neutral rate, at least for this year.
We can get close. I don't know if we can make it, but I'm looking at the same thing. I've got some other ideas.
I do too. I don't have to mention them today.
Yeah.
Mainly for me, I wanted to get some of those other questions answered, and that there's some things up. So we're good.
Okay, thank you, commissioners.
Yeah, we are in Amanda's time. Almost to Evans.
Oops.
Yeah, I think you're going to need to give us a little more.
Well, this was just the first blush to look at it. It wasn't to have in-depth discussions. It's the first time you saw all the numbers.
Well, it's Thursday. Everything.
It might be beneficial, Brittany, if you can schedule at the end of each meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you soon.
go ahead, Amanda.
All right, good morning, commissioners. Amanda Webb, planning director here, talk strategic planning. I know my time's a little short, but I don't want to rush too much through this.
No, you're good.
So, as we all know, over the last year or so, we've had conversations regarding facilities and staffing needs for the county as a whole. Of course, our last strategic plan was, I believe, about 2012, and that's really no longer applicable since that's been some time now. So we have to determine that we would like to do a new strategic plan outlining the facility requirements for the next 3 years. And we would like to utilize a consultant to assist us with this, of course. So, you know, our conversations have continued on strategic planning, and it seems like there's still a little bit of confusion. We're wanting to make sure we're all on the same page, of course, about what we're actually looking to do. So, just kind of wanted to reiterate, this is all kind of from the budget planning committee's POV, if you will. I'm kind of here representing that group as we've had our conversations, and the department heads as a whole. So just kind of wanted to run through those really quick, just again, to make sure that we're all on the same page. This was all reflected in the RFQ that was sent out to the consultant that we'll talk about in just a second. But again, just really wanted to cover this and make sure this is where we're all kind of working towards. So again, we're looking to utilize a strategic planning process to identify and prioritize the facility needs and opportunities from the perspective of evolving delivery of services over the next 3 years. So we're looking at a roughly 3-year period and how our service needs, things are going to change over the years, and how we're going to address those, go through facility and personnel prioritization, if you will. We are expecting the consultant deliverables to include that they will work to gain an understanding of the needs of each department. They're going to facilitate a 1-day retreat to combine those needs into a shared objective, and then create a strategic plan document that prioritizes the next steps with the biggest impact on Riley County as a whole. Is that jiving with the conversations and the thoughts we've had over the last several months, and as we're kind of working towards this? Are we capturing that correctly? We kind of want to make sure before we really kind of embark down that path. So we're all, again, as close to on the same page as we can be, at least in the same book. And you know, we're making this as useful as possible for everybody else. So any concerns with what we have listed there?
That's all good, but what about post?
What about post after we take the plan? So
Put a plan together, are they gonna help work us transition into
included
action?
in
Okay.
Yes.
A year later review.
Somewhere there's a 1-year review of this
Mhm.
thing, not on those lists, but. somewhere
It's
else.
in the document that you saw originally, Commissioner, the timelines and what we expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
It's been a while though since you've seen it.
yeah.
But I think our main point here is to get really clear on the deliverables, so that if those 3
Yeah,
things, and if you want to add 4th deliverables, because not just you, but department heads, and then likely the customers, the clients, you know, Riley County citizens are not totally clear on what are we supposed to get out of this exactly. So they have committed to a 1-year follow-up and meeting with us at the 1-year point.
Okay.
But should we add a 4th deliverable to that, so that, because we want to be able to answer, what is it, what's the point?
Yes.
These are what we expect.
I think everybody needs to know that, so yes,
Okay.
that's our process.
So we'll have 4 deliverables that we expect from the consultant. Then obviously beyond that, because we have some people confused about, well, then the architecture and the building, that's not this
Yeah.
consultant.
Right.
Yeah.
And then as we talked about, the idea within the plan would be an implementation portion to actually talk about how we would implement said plan. So it's not, as we all always talk about long range plans, we don't want them to just sit on the shelf for reason that.
Long range plan.
Yeah,
Yeah. what
3
was it?
years.
Yeah.
It's long range.
Yeah.
1 year is long
Long
range.
range plan is more.
Oh no, the way they fly by.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have one question. It's just a word thing. It's up on page 1, under the bullet points. It's 1, 2, 3 down. It kind of will include perspectives from all stakeholders. Who are all the stakeholders? Are they other than the county officials? Are they?
So we have to have a meeting with them. If you choose this consultant, then the group would have an informational meeting with them that they outlined, and that would be part of that definition. And who we say, I mean, we get to explain who our stakeholders are. I think the group is thinking potentially department heads, elected officials.
Okay, because
Commissioners.
that kind of implies the community, all the community.
That's not the scope we included in this request.
Yeah, that's okay.
We didn't include community input in this request. That would be much longer and much bigger.
Much more expensive.
Yeah, it's much more expensive.
Yeah, that's much larger.
Yeah, no, it was the definition of
Yeah.
stakeholders, and I've always looked at, getting like with the comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
is your
Stakeholders involvement are a lot broader than.
Yeah.
how this particular plan.
It's a good question, but we didn't say it would only be department heads. We didn't say it would only be commissioners. So I think that's your definition of stakeholders.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and maybe we need to move that up. Or leave it out.
I think if we define it. if
Or
we
define it, the
yeah,
department heads and
direction.
commissioners,
Good, yeah, because I don't want anybody to get the wrong.
department heads, elected officials and commissioners.
I mean, that's what I would say is the elected officials, the commissioners and the department head,
County officials.
county officials, yeah. The same people that are included in the county officials.
And that's kind of covered by this line up here, so we determined that would be included in that. So these are the folks that would be expected to attend the retreat and really be.
You could put stakeholders in parentheses after that paragraph and that comes through.
So basically defining this.
That's it.
This is our stakeholder. So if you all agree, that would be our stakeholders.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is from the RFQ that's already been sent out that we got.
Yes.
This is from, so this is out there. And as Elizabeth said, when we're working with whoever the chosen consultant winds up being, all of this will be, of course, identified and clearly spelled out. So. Okay, so let me go back up. So if everybody's okay, I noted that we'll add that fourth expectation to that list. But if everybody's okay with kind of what we're looking as a umbrella definition of strategic planning, if we're okay with that, we can move on to our consultant selection process.
Yep. Yeah, I'm good with it.
So as mentioned, and of course, as included in your packet, we sent out the RFQ, the request for qualifications, in early April with a deadline of May 13. We sent during that time, we posted on the county's website, we sent to 6 firms. We received 1 submittal in response to that one. The group got together and talked and felt it would be really beneficial to have more than one submittal. So we reissued the same RFQ. All we did was push out some dates. None of the content changed, anything like that, other than we allowed them to submit via email and not give hard copies. That was the change there. And so we sent to 5 additional firms and made a new submittal deadline of May 31st. So in total, we sent to 11 firms. Again, it was posted on our website as well. And then total, we received 3 submittals for the total that we got. So the Budget and Planning Committee, we reviewed and discussed all 3 proposals that we received. We identified Shockey Consulting as our top choice. They have a wide range of experience in local government, including in Manhattan and all over Kansas and beyond. They have extensive experience in various forms of strategic planning, not even just exactly what we're looking for, but all kinds of different planning processes in that respect, and a staff with an array of skills and backgrounds. I was able to talk to 3 different references that Shockey included in their proposal. All of them are within the state of Kansas. One of them was the Manhattan Chamber, and their projects weren't necessarily exactly like ours. That's that demonstration of the different types of strategic planning and different types of needs and skills that Shockey can bring to the table, and was able to help these different folks with. And they come highly recommended. Everybody had positive experiences, good things to say about them, and they were, they encouraged us to use Shockey for our project as well. Within their proposal, they do talk about that they can meet the anticipated deadline and they can hold a retreat the 2nd or 3rd week in September as per our request. They can finalize the written plan by November 27th, which is what was outlined in the RFQ. And they are committed to participating in that first annual review of the plan in fall of 2005. We don't want to go back there. 2025. So the cost of Shockey consulting services, which includes everything is requested in the RFQ, is $22,200. If approved, that will come from CIP. And the Budget and Planning Committee, we recommend Shockey Consulting for Riley County's retreat and strategic planning process.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are they located?
Wichita.
Wichita?
I think Kansas is a city. Is it Kansas City? So I think it's. Just can't remember.
They came from our place. They came to us at all.
Because they have an overland branch in Webster, Williams, Missouri.
St. Louis.
No, I guess we didn't consider that.
I'm thinking Oak Grove.
I
Sorry.
know they have a branch in Kansas City as well. They have.
That was the only question. Too.
Looking at the price, and I was like, wow.
You really focused on Midwest.
That's going to be 3-4 times that amount.
It's funny on the price, another one was within $300 of that price, which just amazed me how close they were, and then one was a fair amount higher.
I figured it was going to be about 3-4 times that amount. So.
To me, though, if it's any relief, commissioners, the other two weren't even close. They were just boilerplate, generic presentations, didn't even address really things that we spelled out for them in the RFQ. And this one was the only obvious choice.
Stood out to all of us.
Yeah.
Was this the one that came in the first time?
No, I do not think so.
No, this one, the second round.
I had a referral from Kathy Sexton, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When we reached back, I had to reach back and try to find some options.
Oh, yes. She mentioned this one and another one when I spoke to her on Zoom. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, the other two I was not impressed with at all.
Okay. Even better. Okay.
Okay, so. Whose turn is it here?
Flip coin.
Okay, I can do it. Well, I make a motion to approve utilizing Shockey Consulting for Raleigh County's retreat and strategic planning process and to direct staff to initiate contract negotiations.
Second.
Yeah. It's been moved and seconded to utilizing Shockey Consulting for Raleigh County's retreat and strategic planning process and to direct staff to initiate contract negotiations. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. More to come.
Well, Barry.
Okay, Evan. I'm gonna go with Evan because he brings us good news.
I heard you Monday that it wasn't all that good.
Well, we just imagined how bad it would have been had you been here.
I don't watch it earlier this morning meeting either then. Go ahead, Evan.
Hello, Commissioners, Evan McMillan, Public Works. I'm here today to discuss our current funding for the University Park Lagoon project. As of right now, we have been awarded the $1.5 million from the Small Town Water and Sewer Infrastructure Assistance Program, with an additional $462,000 to come. Hopefully in the next few months. We're just waiting on KDHE approval confirmation. So even with that funding, I think it's responsible to apply for additional funding for the project. We currently have an application through KDHE State Revolving Fund to account for any additional costs that might come during construction. And then we also have an application in for the USDA Rural Development Program, which is the main reason why I'm here today. So with that funding, there are a few things to consider. This program initiates BABA, which is the Build America, Buy America requirement. It's been mentioned that this requirement could potentially increase the price of materials, line items, resulting in a higher construction cost. And then there's also some additional requirements related to construction, inspection, documentation, reporting, all that stuff. So that could add additional construction costs and time. I had a conversation with USDA, and as expected, the current funding that we have received would affect the amount of grant available through USDA. Typically in a situation like this, where if grants weren't previously administered, they would offer a 55% loan, then the remaining 45% could be through a grant. So typically USDA considers grant funding if the assessment is more than 1.5% of the average household income. Based off of that, we are below this cutoff. So if this does turn out to be the case, depending on how the construction bids come in, could raise the price by using USDA, and we still would not be able to use the grant portion. So with all that being said, I guess I'm here today to get your guys' opinions on the next steps moving forward. I believe we have two options. That's to use the USDA and state revolving fund and see how the construction costs come out. That, or we rescind the USDA application and keep our state revolving fund. Any questions you guys have?
The biggest thing is the USDA goes to Davis-Bacon. And I looked them up because you can look, I found the most recent, I assume it'd be heavy. And for heavy equipment operators, bulldozer, forklift, roller graders are $60 an hour.
Oh, yeah. So I was talking with KDHE about that, and they said in your area I wouldn't be too particularly concerned with Davis-Bacon, but 60 is pretty high.
Yeah. The Davis-Bacon would be, because everything else is fairly reasonable, but equipment operators, which is going to be the major part of that one. And like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, and Davis-Bacon can be real, and they'll have odd ones in there that just for some reason got out of line, and that equipment operators, which is the major one of this one, it's out of line, that would increase the project cost a lot more than whatever we get from USDA, I think.
Yeah, I would, outside of that, my thought was we already have got a set of funding.
Yeah.
That's security guaranteed. Let's just use it and figure out some other ways to get funding outside of that, because that's not a guarantee that we'll get it. Right. And you stated why. There's large parts of money to do certain things laying out there that we can still look at and try to bring in outside of that. So we've got guaranteed funding. Let's make sure we use it.
What is the construction estimate right now for with the new location?
Our initial construction estimate was around 2 million with the relocation of the water line and some additional line items that have come up. We're a little bit closer to the $2.5 million.
I'm sure somewhere along the lines we can come up with another $1/2 to $3/4 million.
Well, even if they have to do the loan, that's not much.
Yeah.
But
we tried to
that by how many, 60 some? How many users do they have?
I believe it's 112 users.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That
We tried to stay pretty conservative on our cost estimate as well. So
and we've still got applicable ARPA funds or something. You could throw another 100,000 or something into the equation there too.
That's kind of like the Keats though, commissioners. I mean, you can fund the whole thing, but I mean, we are saving both groups a significant amount of money where they're really legally responsible for all of it. And so I wouldn't feel bad because, as you know, Brittany can show you a long list of other needs, other areas of the community need.
We need to do that.
We've got 2 million divided, most had another $500,000 million by 100 people. That's not.
Well, it's a lot better than Keith's, that's for sure.
So
$5,000 a person. That's not.
I agree with that. I don't think where we're at's good enough.
So the board agreed to, by consensus, to go without using the USDA funding.
Yeah.
okay, and we'll continue the state revolving fund just for the low interest.
But do keep us updated on what those construction costs are, because I'm sure they're gonna increase some.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Okay, I guess we're kind of into Barry's time here, so.
Very much material, well, we can make that much difference with this. Wouldn't make much difference on this, but the equipment operators.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's about $39, that's $29. Just that didn't include, so go ahead.
I'm here because we had, as you're well aware, retirement on Monday. Along with a government employee member with our office retired, and so we would like to fill her position.
with an internal hire, basically, move somebody up, into that position. And then for the administrative, assistant position, which would then be open to advertise, for that position. So instead of advertising for two, when we already have an internal candidate who's performed those functions and we know who do those functions, that is what we would like to do. And then obviously for the more entry level position, advertise for that. No, it's everything.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I need your permission to do that.
Yeah, open the administrative assistant position. Like, yeah.
I move the floor to approve filling the legal secretary position internally and open the administrative assistant position.
I will second that.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve filling the legal secretary position internally and open the administrative assistant one position to fill in the county attorney's office. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cindy, you have a roll sheet that they can see. Yes. Let's talk about the transition first.
Okay.
That's crazy. No. I think that was the last item, is it not? Yeah,
A
right.
lot going on today.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention one thing. I haven't been thinking on this. I know it's not a new discussion, but since it's already happened upstairs, but the windows in here.
You mean the whole building or
Well, I don't know exactly. I know
they all need it?
it's not gonna get any cheaper.
No.
That's the first thing. It's pretty obvious we're gonna do something with the building at some point in time, regardless of what we discuss. Pretty sure we're not gonna do probably too much with the first floor. It's probably gonna stay. When I mean nothing too much, it's not going to change. Right,
Windows will work around. the
right,
windows.
exactly. I don't know about the second floor maybe, but if you're gonna do this one, then it doesn't make any sense not to do. You can tell I've thought this.
'Cause they're
I've
here.
stayed up a good one night on this.
Mm.
But I know they're not gonna get any cheaper to do at this point in time. In fact, I did have conversation with Brett Jones over at Manco about this, and the materials for glass are gonna go up pretty
Sure.
substantially in the next year or
The
so.
manufacturing costs.
Yeah, and that will fit into that too, but just the glass itself, so it might be something to think about. I didn't say we have to figure it out now, but if we did, it'd be a good time to figure it out and have them done.
For winter.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
too.
because we're gonna, and I haven't seen.
And I
the
know
cost
here
of
it's gonna
energy.
upset some things here. We may have to have a meeting or two, may have to beg John maybe to use the conference room up there or something for a meeting or two. Or maybe it works into one of the
Yeah.
small city meetings or something as they get them done. But it might be something to think about, just to get it done, because we're gonna do it at some point in time, and it would save on some costs and it would save up front on some energy costs. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, energy costs have got to be really high in the winter and summer. Because you take a tour of the windows, which I did, it's just.
I haven't had a chance to go up there yet, having bogged down with everything else. I'll probably wait till it's actually finished and just stay out of everybody's way because it's busy, but I actually at this point probably wouldn't have a problem if we wanted to do that. So mull it over. If we want to talk about it. I prefer that maybe we all be in consensus on that, so we don't have to address it, but think about it.
Yeah, I've thought about it.
I figured that.
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot.
I know, Greg, you have some reservations about that, but
So,
But I just,
he's talking about that could be a difference of 10 to 15% in cost.
no,
Yeah,
what's the last one? Is it-
I don't know. I didn't actually ask. Yeah, it's probably overseas. Yeah.
it was like
It's
4.
probably a difference, probably having to do with elections and potential tariff, quite honestly.
But that bid was at 460 or something like that.
So you're probably having another,
Put it into CIP because we've got,
That wasn't a bid, it's a budget.
yeah.
yeah, when I was talking to Russell, he was talking about, disrupting. I said, what about disrupting your office? He said they had room they could move around. He could move this place and, as the windows are going in, so.
And you guys already used to being displaced, so that wouldn't be a big deal for you.
We're kind of, yeah. I
They
don't
may
think,
not have a place.
How much space do you have over there, John?
oh my gosh. They're lovely.
We would have to talk, the one of concern would be GIS, because they have technological
No.
things that we have to adjust to, so that'd be a discussion to have with Corey, but outside of that, the rest of it should work, but I would be okay if we did that. And outside of that, I don't have anything from that.
I'm glad you're thinking about it, because it's. So do we need to get that on the agenda item or do we? Or how do we?
Do you feel like discussing that more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Find some time to discuss that.
Monday.
Bunch of times, at least.
Thursday.
Pull up the actual, the original bid or whatever it
It was
is.
just an email.
Okay.
That I got. I think we may want to. We'd have to,
Yeah,
we have to bid it.
Yeah.
So I would like to maybe call in, retain Bruce
okay.
to use the same description of those windows that we put up there into as far as, and put together a bid document.
They should match. Yeah.
And you ought to think about what you want different. I know Commissioner Folke had mentioned these windows that were doors, whether we
Yeah,
had them
this
as
one.
doors again or change out the way they look into a window. And then I do have a window that's in the elevator shaft that we probably want to seal up. Which may, or just ignore it, because now that's just a mason addition to that. I think we could just leave that window alone. I think it's behind these billboards anyway. But yeah, those are the kind of things I'd like to maybe see an architect or Bruce's bid documents put together so we can get it out and get it good.
Okay. If we're good with that.
Good bid. He's got the standards that we put in those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to maybe get that done and then, before winter, which this time frame would probably work. I would think.
Yeah, part of that quote you got was from Icon removing the old windows that were, the ones upstairs were kind of difficult to remove.
Yeah.
And then Manco came in with the estimate to install.
Okay.
So that quote that we had, did that include that included the labor, or everything, or just the window?
Yeah. But I think they just went around counting windows and estimated sizes.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, I used 500,000 CIP request.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would hope that's close to.
It's not opposed to this bid, would this include what we already have?
The quote did not include the
That did.
existing, those were involved in that project, so they didn't. The quote was everything else.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, put something together, at least we have something solid.
Something.
Yeah, put something together that we can discuss, so we have something solid and stuff like. Yeah,
To discuss.
yeah. Get over to Cindy and we'll find some time. Thank you. Like I said, that's it. I'm done stirring the pot.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to adjourn the June 13th meeting of the Board of Riley County Commissioners.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn the June 13th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good weekend.